This is crazy to say the least. We started this out doing wrestling podcasts with the WrestleMania podcast, and then we decided to move on to Raw, and then somehow we ended up moving from just Raw and WWE pay-per-views to Impact pay-per-views, and then eventually Ring of Honor pay-per-views. We talked about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then we created this thing we call the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, where we discuss everything. And obviously, as you guys and girls out there know, welcome Aiden Quinn to chat. This is the final Popcast in general from the location I am currently at. As of the next time you hear my voice on a podcast, I will be officially 100% in Orlando permanently. So yes, very exciting times, very busy times as I look at the remnants of what used to be in my television room here and a bunch of boxes that are going to be loaded in a couple days. Welcome to a very special edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Apparently.
Indeed. So, yes, I said Orlando. I didn't say my home because that will be on next week's Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, which will be the first Popcast that takes place from Orlando in general. So, yes, I'm excited about this, very much so. We got a lot to do, a lot to talk about tonight in a very, I guess you would say, a very slow week for wrestling news. We got a lot of things going on tonight. Welcome Jeremy Mills to chat. We're going to talk about Smackdown and the botch finish of the main event, and among other things, including Alexa winning back the Women's Championship. You're welcome. 205 Live, which was pretty interesting, as always. We're going to talk a little Impact Wrestling, a lot to discuss there because Impact's going to be filming again. Soundstage 21 at Universal Orlando Resort next week, and I will be there live for that. And we got some UFC news. We've got WCPW. We've got NXT. We got Ring of Honor. We're going to have spoilers from tonight's UCF tapings, thanks to the power of the internet, as well as New Japan Pro Wrestling, the indies that are both North America and also in England and also in Japan. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything tonight here on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. Welcome Pedro Navarro to chat. It's nice. It's nice to have the three people that usually pop up early, along with Acer's the only one that's not here yet, but I have a feeling he'll be here a little bit later. It's nice to have everybody in chat tonight. This is a special night,
He's always here. He never speaks until the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm trying to take it home, and it's like, oh, let me type 6 hours worth of document for me to write.
Yeah. Fuck it. We'll confuse him. That was the end of tonight's show. Hope you enjoy it.
I don't think he's going to go for that, Ashley, to be honest.
No, he knows we've got to do another 4 hours of rabbiting.
Oh, dear God. With everything that's going on lately, there's a lot to talk about tonight, but there's nothing to talk about at the same time, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So let's get started with our WWE portion of our conversation. And that would be, let's talk about Smackdown.
So, it's an interesting start in Ontario because apparently Canada rented out the name to Ontario, California or something.
It's always been in Ontario, California, Ashley.
Just like Ray Kroc and The Founder. Man, that film was good. So Daniel Bryan's in the ring, or comes to the ring and says, it's 40 days until Mania. But on the road to it, there's always unexpected twists and turns. And here's Naomi, who's got a big old knee brace. And she ain't wobbing that much. Of course, the death happens because a "You Deserve It" chant breaks out. See, At one point, that actually meant something, but now it's because just used every time.
It's so redundant too. It's another thing that's just one of those chants that's
Like they
losing all its
used it.
meaning.
I swear they used it for Cena, didn't they? Even though most people would like you don't deserve it at all. So, but Daniel's like Daniel to try and not make to try and take this stuff where it's clearly making fun of it. Daniel's going, you do deserve it, and this is what I agree on. For years, you've worked hard, you've scratched and clawed, and you've seen others get more opportunities than you. But now you're SmackDown Women's Champ, and that's why people are so proud of her. That's the right reason. The problem is that gets molded into everybody getting a title. If we're going on that logic, when Joey Ryan wins the title, whatever, in Japan, or how even Wrestle Circus, apparently, according to his latest exploits on the YouTubes.
Right.
Does that mean every match he has, even if it's against like a cat or something, they have to go to the cat? You deserve it. Because then that would really rip into the fans. But whatever. And Daniel says, look, I don't want to do this, given that I'm GM, but because, I can relate to it. I went through the same thing. And then I got injured and had to relinquish my belt. It wasn't that I wanted to do it, but I needed to do it. And he and Shane have looked over Naomi's medical records. And because of the injury, she won't be able to defend the title in the required 30 days. Oh, really? I can't wait to see whether Brock Lesnar defends the fucking title in 30 days when he becomes champ at Mania.
Well, here's the issue. Actually, here's the issue that I'm looking at right now. We haven't heard anything. Obviously, Uncle Dave hasn't provided us with any response, but why are we doing an injury storyline for Naomi when we don't have any sort of idea if this is a shoot or not? If it's a work, why would you do this?
To me, it actually feels like it might be true.
It sounds like it's a shoot, but why is no one even talking about what this injury could possibly be? Because they are not talking about anything at all.
The problem is, though, by doing it, you're just replicating what's happening between Seth and Triple H. Somebody that's got injured last minute is a doubt for WrestleMania.
Right.
They're showing up at WrestleMania perfectly fine.
That makes sense.
And it's not like anything of significance will probably happen in the next 30 days.
No, probably not.
Naomi says, thanks, Brian, for the comments, because he knows what's going on in her mind, apparently. She was crying tears of joy last week because she accomplished her dream, and now she's filled with sadness and frustration. She felt like she reached the top of the mountain, Elimination Chamber, and the view was so sweet, but now she's been knocked off the mountain and feels bad for the fans who've been on the journey with her and feels that she's let them down. And she feels that when she hands the title to Brian, not just the title's going to go, but a chance at being in WrestleMania. And says, whoever's borrowing the title, when I come back, everyone will be feeling the glow. Cue Alexa Bliss. And of course, does that mean girl sort of look at Naomi as they pass?
She's such a great
Alexa
heel.
Goes, wow, that was amazing. I could have gone without the sub stories, but that end part when Naomi gave up the title, it was beautiful. And for the past 2 weeks, all I've wanted is my rematch, and Naomi hasn't been able to defend. So we're in a bit of a pickle, but think I've got a plan, Daniel. Because, we can't go into WrestleMania without a champ, so I've got an idea. My arms and legs work perfectly fine. And considering I was going to get the rematch I deserve, I think I've won the rematch by default, so I should get the belt. Because that is teamwork.
She has a point.
Yeah. The bookers in the back are going, you might as fucking well. We might as well just not have the finish happen. Oh. See, with everything that's happened there now, that means that the whole push to WrestleMania means nothing.
Right.
Because Bayley's already got a belt. And so's Naomi. And it's all happened before the big show.
I kept telling everybody, and I'm sticking with this. I know I get a lot of flack for it, but when it comes down to it, I swear to you, they pulled the trigger way too early.
So Daniel was like, since you are the former champ, it does make sense to give you back the title. But I'm not going to do that. Opportunity, because you had 2 long weeks for your rematch, and since you're ready to fight, and Naomi isn't, I know somebody who is. So it's going to be Alexa Bliss taking on Becky Lynch. That one again. The most surprising thing about this is it's a clean match.
Yeah, very much so.
No interference from Mickey until afterwards. And very sensible heelish tactics. Because Alexa manages to ruffle the apron and the ring skirt. I think, does she pull it in the ring?
Yeah, this is something that a lot of heels have been doing for a long time lately. Like, The Miz does this every once in a while, too.
Yeah. Pulls it in the ring. The referee's, putting it back to where it was. And Alexa does a good old double thrust to the throat. And hits a roll-up.
Well, she did hook the tights, so, I mean, technically she did win dirty, but she didn't win with interference, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And Mickey tries to take advantage of it because Alexa goes to the back and Mickey goes to basically do a further beatdown. But Becky fights her off.
I mean, this match was fine. It was a little short, but it was fine.
So then we got Dean Ambrose saying, look, things happen. It's not the end of the world. Being hurled through bulletproof glass and having your hair singed in the same week could be a problem. But now I've got a chance to main event Mania. And I don't care who it is. If I can break Baron Corbin's leg, that's fine by me. And then Callisto's talking and says, I was never meant to be a WWE superstar, but I fought and struggled my way here. And there are no limitations to what I can do. And I can main event Mania while the crowd chants Lucha. Or half of the idiot fans that don't watch wrestling and just going because it's a WrestleMania are going, hey, look, it's Rey Mysterio. Hey!
What happened to his gear?
And then Miz goes, I'm WWE champion. I'm Money in the Bank winner. I'm, 4 or 5 time IC champ, US champ. And on April the 2nd, I'll become WWE champ. But I thought he was anyway. Previously, but whatever. So now Renee Young is interviewing Natalia about how the universe is supporting Nikki Bella. I'm supporting neither of you fucking bitches. Get the fuck off my screen. But Natalia goes, look, Nikki's just manufactured in a lab and has everyone fooled with a fake laugh her fake sincerity, and her silicone body. And tonight, I will expose Nikki as a cheap Natalia knockoff.
I don't get the meaning
Natalia
of this.
does. Are you telling me Natalia has a real laugh? Ha! Do you see the sincerity in that? Yeah. I've got a fake laugh. I've got a fake sincerity. But I ain't got the triumvirate because I ain't got silicon. Natalia, I'm not sure. That'd be the irony. She did that line. It's like, yeah, she's had enhancements done. It'd be like, awkward. Anyway, time for Owen to be pissed because it's Breezango versus American Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, they gave it less than 3 minutes, too. So, okay, it's official 100% now. American Alpha are the Steiner Brothers. 100%.
Yeah,
They're the Steiner Brothers.
Especially as well, because the crowd don't know whether to boo or cheer them anymore. They're that sick of them already. Well, I guess they're not sick of them. It's just the fact that they haven't got any competition.
They've got no competition except for... Oh, we'll get to that.
No, the fucking Usos are not competition.
Calling themselves the Young Bucks during this promo.
Oh my fucking god, are you reminding me of that?
I heard that and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, they're dressed more like the Briscoes, but they're calling themselves the Young Bucks.
I really hope the Usos become champs at Mania, just so the Hardys then beat the fuck out of them and take the titles and disappear. Matt going, these Bucks of youth have been in the suntan lounge too long.
I'd love to see the Hardys show up with the Ring of Honor tag belts at Impact tapings.
No, I'm talking WWE. I think the likelihood of them doing anything.
Yeah, Pedro says, I feel bad for the team because they're going to be in the same position that the New Day are in. We're not going to know what to do with them. Yeah.
There you go. Just fucking confirmed American Alpha will be guest hosting WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans.
Oh, God. Now they're going to be losing the titles to the top guys on SmackDown the 2 nights after Mania.
Unless they put them on Raw.
That's stupid. You don't need to have the Good Brothers and the Revival on the same brand. That makes no sense.
With NXT, they're more likely to be successful on Raw than on SmackDown.
Why don't you have Gargano and Ciampa show up on Raw then?
Yeah, in that case, fuck Revival. DIY on Raw. Yes!
DIY versus the Good Brothers.
Make Mondays great again, Vince. Make Mondays great again.
I am sick of almost falling asleep trying to recap these shows. I want something I can sink my teeth into, and Gargano and Ciampa on Raw is something that would definitely work.
Hell, they're fucking cruiserweights. They'd fit both sections.
You're correct.
So yeah, Gable and Jordan win. Then the Usos appear in the crowd and say, American Alpha will be your ex-champs. They tease jumping the barrier and actually going to the ringside, but they say, oh, I'm not doing that tonight. We didn't come out here for a fight. You know, you can't get ready for us. You can't get ready for two people who have nothing to lose. Let's be honest, Usos, you've actually got quite a fucking lot to lose. Like, you know, being booked again in any promotion ever, other than ones that are run by your fucking Samoan family. And the Usos conclude by saying what Gable and Jordan are going, Gable and Jordan, you're going to have the Usos on your mind. That's the alternative B-side to Elvis Presley's Always on My Mind, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's a shame, Ashley, with the way everything has been done with Jimmy and Jey Uso, because if you take away the Samoan heritage and you take them out of the company, I think they could do just fine on the Indies.
Yep.
But people are so sick of them because they've been force-fed to us for the last 2 years that it's just, no matter what they do with them, it's not going to be good enough in a lot of people's eyes.
It's interesting how they were force-fed and rejected, but New Day were force-fed, and although they've lost some of their luster, they're clearly still liked by a majority of people.
Oh, God, yes. They're really nice guys. I have a lot of friends that are very close with them.
No, but that's what I'm saying. They probably both had the same amount of push, if not New Day more so. And if you're going on the argument by people being pushed too much equals, losing interest in it.
Oversaturation.
Yeah. Why hasn't that happened with New Day to the same extent that it has with the Usos?
I think my answer to that is because the New Day got over, and they've stayed over, and the Usos cooled off. And when they cooled off, they haven't been able to get that spark that they had back when they were hot.
Yeah. I see your point.
Let me move on.
So now we got AJ stopping some random bloke in the back. He's like, "You know where I'm going, son?" He's like, "I don't know, toilets." Like, "I'm going to the main event of WrestleMania." Okay. And then Ziggler's got his bit and says, "The new era of WWE has been cancelled by me. And if you think you can replace me," then randomly fucking super kicks the green screen behind him and goes, "Replace that."
This was goofy. This was just straight up goofy. Why are they making Dolph Ziggler out to being such a geek?
Hang on.
Ashley, at this point, Dolph probably should just leave WWE.
No.
I mean, obviously he's not going to, but I mean, it probably would help him in the long run. It's a real shame.
Needs to play after every Dolph Ziggler promo.
Oh, God. What's that? Pretty much.
Next, we've got Mojo Rawley. He says, "I've been in Battle, but tonight it's for WrestleMania."
Mojo should be buying a ticket for WrestleMania, not being on the card.
I realized I should have used that for Mojo because it's like, oh no, I realized. Right, I'm getting that fucking set up. I remembered one of my. I remember one of the bits I need to get. It's disappeared. There it is. Then Luke Harper is on and says, "For years I followed Bray and I obeyed him, but at the flick of a switch, that all I just realized what the fuck he did there."
Oh, no.
He's getting in on fucking John Cena's Nintendo Switch gimmick.
Oh,
Luke Harper's stealth promoting the Switch.
I want to see Luke Harper on Up, Up, Down, Down then.
At the flick of a switch.
God. Is Mojo going to be a part of the Andre Battle Royal, says Pedro? Yeah, probably. Pedro,
The
yes.
flip
Dolph
of the
Ziggler will
switch,
be
it all
welcome.
changed. And now Luke Harper's free. After I'm victorious tonight, there'll be nowhere left for him to run. So now we've got Renee talking with Nikki about the Falls Count Anywhere match. Nikki's like, I still had some feelings for her, but now I don't care about her. I will show that she's more than a pretty. I will show that I'm more than a pretty face. I'm the longest reigning Divas champ for a reason. Don't fucking remind us of that title, because we're not supposed to acknowledge the women as divas anymore, you stupid bitch. And she'll leave it all out there. And after tonight, Natty will be known as the Broken Heart. I think we cannot let that stand anymore, because the Broken Heart will be, I think, Romy Reign after the Montreal Screwjob Brazzers parody. We'll get to that. That's the best fucking news of the week. So speaking of porn, Nikki versus Natalya in the Falls Count Anywhere match. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, it was fine.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to see this fucking fight anymore.
Can we mention how awkward it was when she was trying to powerbomb her through the announce table?
Yeah.
The announcers were corpsing for good reason, because obviously any thoughts that was going through anybody's mind is not something you could say on broadcast television.
No.
Maurice took a huge hit, though, in this match.
Yeah, for some reason Maurice showed up. Like, yeah, because it went to the back, didn't it?
Yeah, because they fought in the back, and the next thing you know, Maurice was just like chilling in the back, and she got knocked down. So of course she comes out and goes Tanya Harding on the finish.
So yeah, and this is where I need to. So Natalya, for some reason, spits on Nikki. So Natalya throws Nikki into Maurice. That's when the collision happens. Natalya gets thrown through a mirror. Then we get back like to the stage, like where people can see, and Natalya goes for a sharpshooter, reversed into an STF from Nikki. Natalya's about to tap, and then fucking Maurice
with the weakest pipe shots ever.
What do you do for revenge for getting cocaine in your face? A fucking metal pipe!
Those are the weakest shots I've ever seen with a pipe before. She could have at least laid him in a little bit.
I've seen Snoop Dogg take better hits on a pipe, and he wasn't even hitting somebody with that pipe.
I was hit harder in the backyard days than that happened.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I'll just go with your word on that. But like, and then Miz is like having to hold Maurice back from doing it anymore. It's like, I love the fact for all these times that these accidental collisions have occurred, Maurice is under the impression that it's being done on purpose.
What happens?
Is it because Maurice is the only one of the three of them that actually got her tits and pussy out? Search it on the Google, kids. Search it on the Googles.
Oh, God.
So Natalya wins with the metal pipe. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, Ashley plays
Because
this all plays all the time.
now we've all but confirmed what's coming.
Never doubt Uncle Dave, boys and girls. Never doubt Uncle Dave.
I don't want to doubt him.
We're not going to.
Just like him himself, he's like, I don't want to see it either.
No one wants to see it, but it's going to be something that
nobody wants the shit.
Oh my god!
Not nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants this shit. So now we got Baron Corbin saying, "I like destruction. I like inflicting pain, but most of all, I like the spotlight.
I like puppies."
I think he did that. Because it won the Oscar 51 weeks ago.
Nice facial hair, Baron. It doesn't really suit him very well.
Oh, another fucking beardo. After he throws that 9 men out the ring, I will take my rightful place in the main event of Mania. Then Apollo Crews shows up and says, Ziggler thought he could keep me down by attacking my leg. Yeah, people mistake my smile for weakness. If you want to stand in my way, you're going to get rolled over, run over, and tossed over real quick. Like Pancake Day! And then, the interesting one. Orton and Wyatt. And Bray goes, with great sacrifice should come great reward. You have earned the keys to the kingdom, Randy. But speaking of sacrifice, whoever wins will be the sacrificial lamb for the slaughter at Mania. Now, before I forget, a lot of people have pointed this out on the interwebs.
Okay.
Now I need to find it. So this happened, I think, the week before the week before Backlash. I think in September.
Okay.
It's a couple of minutes, but I think there's some interesting context here. Who knew fucking Charlie Caruso would have an interesting question? Turns out she was just 6 months too late.
Who said that you are no longer the man he is? How does this change your strategy going into your match with Bray at this Sunday's Backlash?
Bray likes telling stories, doesn't he? Let me see if I can speak his language. Once upon a time, there was a man. He lived in the wild, hadn't eaten in days. He knew as he endured the cold, harsh winter climate that he was going to have to find himself some food or he was going to die. So he comes across a rabbit at a distance. He unslung his rifle, took a shot, and killed the man. And as he's approaching his new meal, he sees, just off to the side, a snake. You see, the snake and the man both wanted that rabbit, but only one could have it. So the man took a step and then another, and he looked at the snake, and the snake didn't move. So the man took another step and another step, all the while looking at the snake, waiting for him to strike. But he didn't. So the man, satisfied, squatted down over his fresh kill. And as he did, he glanced back at the snake one last time. He remembered what he had been told as a kid, and that's that snakes will always be more scared of you than you are of them. So he picked up his prize. He took off, and as his first step hit the cold, hard, frozen ground, that's when the snake struck. You see, Charlie, the snake never stopped wanting that rabbit. But when he saw the man, he knew he could have them both. He just had to lie there, patient and waiting, for the man's overconfidence to be his undoing. So, to answer your question, I'll be waiting patiently for Bray Wyatt at Backlash. And at Backlash, Bray Wyatt won't know what hit him.
Very
Just
true.
replace the word backlash with WrestleMania.
Pretty much.
Then we got a Jack Gallagher promo saying, "Don't matter who I'm up against.
Thank
a
you, Aiden.
gentleman is always prepared." Apparently. So now it's time for the Battle Royal to determine who's going to WrestleMania. But probably not.
I swear this match was 18 hours long.
Yeah. So, in the match, we got Cena, AJ, Corbin, Ambrose, Miz, Harper, Ziggler, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, and Mojo Rawley.
I was hoping we have a Sesame Street reference.
I hope one of these things is not like the other things. One of these things just doesn't belong. Can you guess which thing is not like the other thing? Before I finish my song.
Had to bring that one back.
Well, yeah. I would have requested it, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, this, like I said, this match went like 6 hours.
Thankfully, Mojo, I think, was the first out, wasn't he?
Yeah, Corbin hit the deep six on the Miz. He tossed Mojo out. Kalisto got eliminated by Ziggler's super kick. But Apollo eliminated Dolph. So Ziggler went after Kalisto with chair shots. This distracted Apollo long enough for Corbin to eliminate him. So, of course, we got finishers galore early on with Miz channeling his inner Bryan Danielson, of course, as always. Cena comes in, just randomly just tosses Miz. We got a commercial break. Cena hits
What
us.
it was, he was doing Miz kicks, but Cena ducked one.
Right.
And Cena threw him out.
Yep. Get a commercial break. We come back. Cena hits Stack German on Ambrose and AJ, and then he ends up getting caught with End of Days. Ambrose eliminates Corbin, but Corbin pulls him out and hits End of Days anyway. Of course, Ambrose isn't eliminated, building their Intercontinental title match they're going to have at WrestleMania. Again, don't doubt Uncle Dave. Miz comes in, tosses Cena. Cena's beside himself, wondering how someone who was already previously eliminated is going to be able to eliminate him. But they're like, yep, you got to go. Oh, man.
And then just from that, we realize, you fucking morons.
This is correct.
Even Cena going up against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania again will be a better fucking choice than this mixed tag match.
This is correct.
Because then my worry is, what if Maurice has gone shit?
That's a good point. She has a lot of ring rust right now, but I'm sure they're working that out somewhere, like in the Performance Center currently.
Probably.
Maybe not the Performance Center, but somewhere like maybe in the LA area, like when Rock was working with Kurt Hawkins to get ready for his Mania match with Cena. Something like that. That's my guess. So we get the awesome AJ Styles
The
Luke
final
Harper
two.
finish. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Brody Lee versus AJ Lee. Styles, sorry.
they're fighting on the apron, and Harper basically goes to pull him out. AJ hits the floor first, and that's the reason why they didn't show a replay, because obviously they would have to reveal that the finish got botched, and they have to play a dusty finish where different referees saw AJ hit first, and the other referees saw Harper hit first. So it's basically Brett and Luger from the Royal Rumble. So Daniel Bryan comes out. He's like, you know what? Next week, we're going to have a singles match, and the winner faces Bray Wyatt for the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but of course the video shows that
Oh, the video showed it.
the video showed AJ hitting the floor before Harper,
Well, yeah, clearly that's the reason why
which
they
I
didn't.
yeah, because just because of that move they fucked it up.
Yeah, the finish was botched for sure. But they got the direction they
Because
wanted to.
if Harper was the one that hit the floor first,
They would have shown it.
and then they'd have said, it's a draw.
It
We're
would
gonna
be
have
worse.
a rematch next. We're gonna have a one-on-one match the next week.
Right.
It's more ammunition.
Totally. And if you,
Ammunition.
Ashley, did you watch Talking Smack?
No.
So basically, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves again, but with Talking Smack, AJ shows up on the panel, and we're already starting the dissension with AJ and Brian. And basically, he ends up telling Brian to leave, and he said he's going to host next week. And they made fun of AJ because he got his tooth chipped. And it was interesting back and forth with authority. So, yeah, this is building to Shane McMahon and AJ Styles slowly but surely.
I've just realized what's happening, though. Because I've got a feeling plans are changing for WrestleMania.
A few things are definitely changing. That's what it looks like, at least.
Because I think, thanks to Randy, I've got a feeling that your WWE title match now at Mania will be a triple threat.
Oh, yeah, totally. Wyatt family three-way for the WWE Championship.
And I would be so for Luke, here's your first chance to be in a main event of a show. Oh, by the way, it's WrestleMania.
And we have been championing Luke Harper since day one, especially here on this show. And I've been saying it for the Raw shows. I've been saying it for the pay-per-view shows. If they would let Luke Harper really go, he definitely is going to shock a few people. And it was interesting because the crowd was on his side against AJ at the end of the show.
I've got a feeling what's going to happen is it's going to be Harper versus Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
But then Orton's going to say, I'm reinstating my WrestleMania opportunity, because then it can be two on one. And then there is no chance that Luke Harper's going to walk out with the title.
Right.
It's going to be solely Bray Wyatt's. And then the
Orton
turn
turns.
just happens.
Yeah.
And he wins the title at Mania and does his explanation in Orlando.
Yeah, for sure.
48 hours afterwards.
I can see that.
And because he sees this shit, and people probably complaining on Twitter like, we had a better run, nobody won. To epitomize WWE making fun of all these marks on the internet, we just finished with Bray laughing on the Titantron.
And that was the best part, too, because, we screwed you out of a finish, and the finish of the show is literally going to be Bray Wyatt laughing hysterically. It's perfect.
Fuck off.
But obviously, that's not how the show ended. That's not how the show ended for the live crowd, because the show ended for the live crowd by The Miz getting beat up.
Who by? Austin Aries.
Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
The Miz came out, cut a promo in the crowd, and the next thing you know, here comes Bray and Orton to the ring. Miz said, "Take your lantern somewhere else," and he said to Orton, "RKO someone else out of nowhere." And then Bray hits Sister Abigail on the Miz, and then Orton hits the RKO to send the fans home happy.
Is that after 205 sort of life?
Well, it was after the fighting with my family scenes because they had to do some more Raw recreation in Ontario. So basically,
fucking tape the ropes up, Brett.
Yes, they did. That's the reason they sent the Miz out, so they could preoccupy the crowd while they were working on the ring.
Fucking hell. Does that mean Dwayne was in Ontario there?
That would be a correct answer.
Does that mean Dwayne's FSU?
Oh, I doubt it. I know Balor is at
You're gonna do more
NXT right
shooting.
now.
They're going to do more shooting at a tinier venue.
The dark match was Heath Slater and Rhino over the Ascension. So that was SmackDown's dark match this week.
We might as well transition into
Yeah, we'll go to
207.
We're actually going to 205 now, Pedro. So yeah, we'll talk about that right now.
207. I'm allowing £2, leeway for President's Day weekend. So we start off with Tozawa and Kendrick, which was as good as you expect it to be.
What do you think of the finish? I think it's very unique. It's not something that's played out. It's something that rarely gets done.
It's certainly a Japanese style thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we've seen people get like taped up to the barriers, and
Oh god, yes.
there was that awesome one with Roppongi Vice at Wrestle Kingdom when the Young Bucks just walk the fuck off to the entrance way, like right at the, like, you know how far the distance was with the Alamo Dome and all that stuff. Everybody else that's listening.
Yes.
They needed fucking golf carts. It was roughly that for Tokyo Dome if you haven't seen it.
Have you seen
the Young Bucks? The Young Bucks fucking super kicked Roppongi Vice.
Yes.
And then ran to the fucking ring. So then Roppongi Vice had to run like bloody Usain Bolt just to make it in the ring in time before the 20 count expired.
Just genius. Absolutely genius.
That's what we sort of got here, but basically Kendrick managed to put Tozawa in the ring frame.
Yep.
Which was an interesting move.
Right.
I haven't seen the ring actually being used as sort of a weapon.
Right. I mean, it was going good for a while, and then we got to the very unique finish. I mean, I know a lot of people. I've listened to a lot of people are kind of like iffy on the finish, but I mean, I actually think it worked for the story they were being told. And it's funny because if you listen to it and you really think about it, it's always staring you in the face. Brian Kendrick is quite literally the man with a plan, and that was his plan.
Mm-hmm. So then Tom Phillips is there because apparently he's doing interviews now.
Yeah, did you see the look he shot that Morrow shot him when they were doing the SmackDown commentary?
I was more interested to see if JBL was going to fall over.
Very unique, Logan. I totally agree.
But yeah, Phillips asked Kendrick if he's able to put his shoes behind him now. And Kendrick just goes, Tozawa's disrespecting me. He thinks he knows better. But tonight he found out that he doesn't. Lesson number 1, you beat the man to the fight. Lesson number 2, there is more than one way to win a match. And I'm not done teaching you lessons, Tozawa. So now we're backstage this time. I think with Dasha, Prancer, Blitzen, asked about, Swan's comments, about dedicating his match to Alicia. And Dar goes, look, I'm not uncomfortable. Me and Alicia, we're like two peas in a pod. What kind of lowlife speaks to a man's lady like that? And then Dash is like, so why is Alicia not here? And part of me is going, she's in fucking Germany, son. Sampling all the Frankenfurters and the wieners. But Dar's like, look, she's a little under the weather. And let's be honest, she never leaves me. And don't worry, I'm going to dedicate tonight's victory to my girlfriend, Alicia Fox.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this was on commentary when we get to our next match with Mustafa Ali and Noam Dar. I'll give kudos to Morrow here for bringing up. Obviously, he's talking about the Oscars, and Corey brought up the Oscars, talking about La La Land and everything, given the fact that we're in California. I love the fact that they brought up the connection that Noam has, obviously, to Oasis, which, of course, as a lot of people would know, is my favorite band. So I thought that was cool that they were mentioning Oasis here.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, this was a short match.
Why have I only just realized the obvious joke?
Oh no.
You know why Alicia isn't there? Because she's a fox on the run. Yes!
Oh my god.
Alicia Fox.
Yeah, we're very excited about Austin Aries. Pedro, we'll talk about that momentarily. Short match and to the point. Decent stuff here.
Yeah, Dar and Ali should have delivered.
Dar actually goes over with a knee strike, which is interesting because he doesn't normally win. I'll give them credit for putting him over here. He needed to win.
Well, I guess they sort of had to continue the storyline with whoever it is I guess he's with.
Apparently.
I'm guessing it's Swan.
That's what it looks like, at least. That's what they're building up towards. And then we get...
So now, time for a video package for like one of the new signings from the Cruiserweight Comp. Oh, wait. Austin Aries introduces a video package for Austin Aries.
Who better to promote A-Double than A-Double?
Says that he's one of the most decorated sports entertainers and that there's no one else at the A-Double level. And when I decide to step in the ring, 205 Live will never be the same. See, the way he's conducting himself, I really can't tell whether he's trying to be face or heel. I think they're probably doing that on purpose because he's probably... The sad thing is he's probably better as a heel.
Oh, yeah, but he's going to have to go after Neville because that's the
thing
WrestleMania
is,
match.
It's fucking Orlando.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It's fucking Aries country.
I can agree with that.
If anybody's going to get booed, it would be Neville or Gallagher.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Whichever one wins. So now we've got some comments from Neville because of the contract signing. And
very nice. The fact that Neville was being interviewed by a good friend of the Popcast Network and a personal friend of mine, Mike Rome.
Did you do that on purpose? Because Neville's facing Jack Gallagher. Yeah. Jack Gallagher made the biggest mistake with what he did on Monday. He put his hands on the king. And Jack will now have Neville's full attention. And at Fastlane, I'm going to look forward to making that cockroach suffer. So that now, for some reason, we got Gallagher doing dips.
That was random.
He's asked about his strategy tonight against Tony Nese. And Jack's like, my opponent combines different styles pretty damn well. So tonight will be a preview of how I will win the Cruiserweight title.
Is he broken?
And Gallagher versus Nese is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is. Not surprising whatsoever. I will love the fact that Nese broke out the Spider German. That made me happy. Gallagher caught him with a belly-to-back superplex, and then he hits the running dropkick in the corner, and Gallagher wins. Really great chain in this match, great back and forth in this match. Nese hit a really interesting counter. He hit a cartwheel off the ring apron, and then when he landed a super kick. I wish they'd put more with Tony Nese here. I do think that Aries' first opponent back is going to be Tony Nese because they've been setting it up like crazy. So you almost have to make Aries the face and then later on turn him heel.
Well, I guess the thing is, could you have it as part of the UK tour?
Very possible. Yes, I fully support Austin Aries returning, and this match was good. I'll props to you, Jeremy Mills, talking about Oasis in chat. That is my favorite album of all time, actually. So yeah. I mean, this is good stuff, as always. I'm telling you, though, Ashley, Gallagher is going to knock himself senseless with that red card. He didn't stop doing it. That headbutt is deadly. So, indeed. So I think that is our WWE portion until we move on a little bit later to talk about NXT. Let's move over to Impact. As Ashley groans.
So basically, previously on, the Hardys are in Mexico, and Davey hates Eddie. We go straight into the opening match. Crazy Stephen Rosemary versus Moose and Brandy Rhodes, which wasn't too bad of a match. You use your mixed tag, sort of good mix.
Right.
Brandy getting some offense on Rosemary, but clearly it's like, look, she isn't a wrestler. Why is she being used to wrestle?
I mean, to her credit, though, Brandy has been doing a lot of work. Like, I know she did a lot.
But if anything, Brandy should be in a Maria role. As in predominantly talking. Except for Brandy, it should be predominantly talking until she's ready to wrestle again. With Maria, I think she can't be asked to wrestle again. But Moose and Brandy win. after Moose slays Crazy Steve out with the game breaker. Here comes Eddie Edwards. And Kurt says, I'm not here to talk. I'm here to beat Davey's ass. So Brandy and Moose now are celebrating in the parking lot. And Moose says, you got my number. And, make sure you call me if anybody ever messes with you again around here. So now Eddie comes to the ring and says, I want Davey's ass. He likes the ass, apparently. Even though he's married, he likes his ass. It's a low point in my life because not only did my best friend screw me, but, he crossed the line and got my wife involved. So I want Davey to come out here and take an ass whooping. So here comes Angelina Love and says, no, don't work that way. You'll get Davey when I say you get Davey. And it's like, what are you actually mad about? Where were you when Davey tore his ACL defending the titles for the tag belts and whatever? Where were you when I was 9 months pregnant and helping him around the house? Eddie went after the world title and blew off his brother, so now you can face him. So they sort of confront each other. And Angela starts to talk, and Eddie's just like, shut up. Why don't you just reach into your purse, give Davey his balls back? And Davey's like, look, who made this team? I was the name, and Eddie was a nobody. I'm like, let's be honest. With the amount of fucking promotions you've no-showed over the year, Davey, I'd say Eddie's the better, more credible and respectable name. Davey Richards is the PCW of actual wrestlers. Shady, and you don't really want to do a deal with them anymore because of some of their conduct in previous years. There's an irony there. I created the Wolf Nation. Since Eddie turned his back on me, I'm going to destroy it. So they have a fight or a mini brawl. But Eddie says, I want a street fight later on. So now we're at the bachelor party because, oh, fuck, this wedding's happening.
Yeah.
Braxton's bachelor party, basically, Bennett says, I invited all your best friends. And Braxton's like, I have no clue who any of these fucking people are. Good. Cut to Tijuana. And everybody's going, delete. And one guy says, yes, we want to delete Mick Mahan as well. So they go through backstage and speak Spanish to a masked guy that knows perfect English. And Conan, well, like, you want to go at the tag belts? All right, we'll set it up. So now we're at Laurel's bachelorette party, which Ali's done to look like a kid's birthday party. Laurel shows off the ring, which looks like, the fucking donut that Lard Lad has in The Simpsons?
Yes.
That's how big the ring is. It's like nearly big enough to fit over her wrist than it is just on her finger. And Maria's like, oh, isn't it great that you're going to marry Braxton? It's like, somehow I think arranged marriages in wrestling is a bit of an issue, especially for, the fact that one of your bigger audiences in India is dealing with that situation right now in a negative light. Because culturally, that's seen by most people to be pretty wrong. You know, forced marriages. So are you just doing this to appease like the minority of people in India that might be watching? Because I don't know if it's still on Sony 6. Who knows? Then randomly we got Eddie Kingston versus Jesse Goddard. Amazingly, Jesse wins as well.
That's very interesting.
Leaping Enziguri in a springboard forearm. Thankfully, afterwards, the lights go out. And Bram and Jane Storm are showing up. But at that same time, when they show up in the ring, Jesse Goddard has shown up at the top of the ramp. It's like, so he has teleportation powers as well? Jesse Goddard is the Undertaker? Now we're back to Braxton's party. Braxton's stag do, if you will. And like, there's a guy that goes, look, man, I can get anything you want. Wink, 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 wink. Stealing a line from Lego Batman movie. Wink, wink, blink, 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 wink, wink, blink, blink. Anything. And so I was just like, can we finish this party? And Mike's like, look, you better not do that. Because if the party ends, we gotta go home. And so I'm like, what's the negative of this? And then some fat guy randomly has climbed up a ladder and jumps off onto the guy that says, I can get you anything. No fucking clue what this is. I don't even know if it's supposed to be entertaining. I guess. Now we're back at the Hendo. And Ali's got games and headbands and noisemakers. And Maria says, look, nobody cares about your decorations. And I mean, the best way I can describe it is Sienna's double fisting wine bottles. Wine bottles are not fisting anything else. Wink, 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 wink.
Oh, God.
So it's time for the fact of life with Tyrus, who would like to bring out a not so special guest. Not his friend, not the fans' friend. It's Eli Drake. And Eli's not happy being the guest. He says that none of the cross-eyed mouth breathers deserve to hear my voice. Tyrus chose to go at it with the DCC and never asked him. Enjoyed beating the life out of EC3 with that bat. But Tyrus picked the wrong guy to cash his briefcase in on. And Drake left him last week because Tyrus needs to understand that he pays Tyrus to watch his back and, you know, be his man because he's the guy that's paid to do that. And Drake's the guy that's in the main event. And Tyrus the guy who watches them all. No, it's his desk, it's his show, it's he owns the show, and he owns Tyrus, and Tyrus goes, nope, grabs Drake from the neck and says, nobody owns me. If you want to see something get owned, it'll be you and me in the ring next week. So now we're back in Mexico. And Conan says the Hardys are here and they want the belts. You know, they don't want any money. They're doing it for free. They just want a chance to the titles. And Conan's like, look, I've heard you don't want to get paid. And that shows what kind of people you are. And so, you know, the match is on. And then the bloody Hardys leave, and Conan says to the guy, look, Get as much fucking bootleg Hardy t-shirts and shit that you can find and put it on sale. Because we're going to make a fucking fortune off these guys.
Well, they're not wrong.
We get a quick jump to the hen party where Maria's ripping the shit out of Ali. Back to Tijuana. And the Hardys tell Vanguard 1 to map out a quick escape plan for them after they procure the Mexican tag belts. And yeah, the referee's face was blurred out, and I can't remember whether they blurred out the competitors as well.
You mean Super Crazy and Psychosis?
Yeah, I don't think they did.
No, it was because Marty Elias is contracted to Lucha Underground.
Yeah. In which case, what was he doing on the Crash show?
Dun dun dun. And the plot
unless of course they don't use foreign referees for AAA, so it's like, what the fuck would he do?
That's a fair point too.
So we don't see the full match, which is a shame. But it makes sense.
Sure it was good.
Probably couldn't get a good solid shot of the thing. But the great thing is, during it, we see Vanguard 1 in the green room, like, I'm bored as fuck, man. And then some fucking whores come in. And these fucking whores are like groping bloody Vanguard 1. And he's like, I like this shit. But, yeah. The Hardys win with Matt hitting the Twist of Fate and Jeff hitting the Swanton. So they have won, apparently, the Mexican tag team titles. How do you feel about that, AAA and CMLL? Also, it's worth noting, I think the Crash tag belts that we saw were made out of crushed tinfoil.
Oh, they're backyard wrestling titles?
They looked pretty flimsy.
Oh boy.
You know the old world title?
Yeah.
You know, Lou Fez and George Hackenschmidt days?
Of course.
It was basically just like a slightly embossed metal plate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Crash titles, pretty much.
Wow.
Not a lot of effort put into it. Like, clearly they just like got some super glue and got some metal and stuck it on. It's like, yeah, the belt. Woo! So the Hardys find their way backstage, and Conan's guy comes in to tell Conan, look, they're leaving. So we're never going to get them back. So they get to the green room, but the green room's empty. And the Hardys are back in the Dome of Deletion. And they put they're basically going to put all the titles that they earn into a magic sack, which I guess is bottomless or something. So it's like all the titles can go in it. But now, premonition, scribe. Please make note, scribe, that we will be returning to our Egyptian roots. Because next week the Hardys try to become Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champions. I'm still trying to work out the Egyptian roots thing there. What is Egyptian about CWF Mid-Atlantic or Omega?
You got me there.
So now it's Brooke versus Sienna. The whole idea is that Brooke is tired of Maria's power trip and everything. Brooke gets the win, avoiding the AK-47, and gets a schoolgirl roll-up, I guess you have to call it. Because it's not a schoolboy, because she ain't a boy. Aha, aha, aha. And pretty impressive match, even though it was short between the two of them. So now, once again, we're at the bachelor party. Braxton doesn't want anything there. And this old fuck shows up, apparently called George. Mike Bennett says that this guy, who clearly looks like 80, is 28. And this old bloke's like, "Can we watch porno?" It's like, what?
So random.
What? And Bennett says, "Not so fast. You don't need porno, because it's time for the enchanting Roxy." So Bennett opens a door, and Owen will get this joke. We cut to the opening credits of Nocturnal Animals.
Nice. Not nice, but nice.
Fat lady, bad teeth, and just to really do it, they, like tumbleweed that you get on the fake westerns, they stuck two under her arms, so made it into like really stupid armpit hair. And then Bennett slams the door in her face and just goes, "You still got that porno, George? Because we might need it." What? This is probably your main event angle for next week's show. What? Eli Drake in the parking lot and says, "I'm going to beat every living breath out of Tyrus until his career's over next week." That's probably not a great thing to say, but okay. So Bobby Lashley shows up and says, "Look, I'm still champion. Now 4-time champ. Baddest man on the planet. I love to fight. I live to battle, and I love to hurt people. And I don't care whether it's in Impact or Bellator. There is no fighter alive that can hang with me, look me in the eye, and really believe that they can beat me, because it just won't happen." Cue Josh Barnett. And says, "Look, I've heard a load of bold proclamations coming out of your mouth, Bobby, but you're not living up to the expectations of the fans. And there's a level you need to maintain as champion, and I'm disappointed. I want to show you in person and teach you a lesson and bring you up to the level that I know you're capable of." And Lashley's like, "Don't get yourself into something that you'll regret. Don't play into the fans' hands and whatever." No, it was great to see you here, Josh, but you've been a top 10 fighter for the last 20 years, but in MMA, there's rules. But in my world, cue bloody Jeff Jarrett's music, there are no rules. And as tough and as bad as you are, Josh, you can't come into my world and tell me anything. Take your ass to the back, have a seat. And he goes to like pat Josh on the shoulder, and Josh hits him with an armbar, but Lashley escapes. And Lashley's like, "If that's what you want, we'll fight." And Barnett says, "Okay, we'll do it. As long as you put that belt on the line." And he agrees, saying that Barnett's going to get an ass whooping, just like everybody else. I find it ironic that this airs, and then within the same week, Lashley says, "I want Fedor." We'll get to that with the MMA stuff. Like, You don't want Josh Barnett. Good to know. The confusing thing is, it still seems that Josh Barnett is still being able to do the New Japan stuff. Even though he is paid by New Japan. Whatever. Now we're back to the bachelor party. Braxton's the only one that's not passed out. Steps over the guest, puts Roxy face down on Bennett's lap and takes a picture of his cell phone. And then goes to fucking leave. Then we get the main event, a street fight, which starts with like Angelina coming out instead of Davey, and it's like, if you want to fight, you got it. Davey uses this like come from the crowd and attack Eddie, and fucking Josh drops the line, you know, you know what's been happening, Pope? Davey spent the last year sitting at home watching Schitt's Creek on Pop TV. The so-called greatest ringing from, the greatest wrestling commentator that there ever has been, Josh Matthews.
Yeah, we've got
Lying like that.
We got some updates about that, actually. Ashley, he got in some serious trouble for saying that.
Oh, good. Yes.
So let's get to that real quick.
Yeah. Fuck it. Basically, like, crazy shit happens. Like, Davey hits a concerto with thanks to Angelina basically putting a chair over the head and whatever. Angelina kicks the referee in the dick. Davey puts his boot on Eddie's chest, and Angelina makes the count. So I'm guessing it's just a no contest, probably. Or Davey sort of won. And then bloody fucking Davey and Angelina kneel over Eddie and start making out while the wife watches from ringside, because obviously she got involved. Do we have to make this look like a shit show? The answer, of course, considering it's Jeff Jarrett, is of course we fucking do. Everybody in the company has to look atrocious, apart from fucking Jeff Jarrett, because it's his world, motherfuckers.
We got a couple of things to discuss about Impact since we're on the subject. And, of course, this was news earlier in the week. Magnus has been offered a new contract to return to the company. We'll see if that works out. And officially this week, Mike Bennett and Maria have signed another year contract.
Good.
Mike and Maria do not have complete control over their bookings outside of TNA, but Bennett will be honoring his indie commitments that he's already committed to, and he's going to be working for some various promotions over the next year. So Impact actually went all out and announced the taping schedule for Universal all the way up until August.
Christ.
So, as you guys know, March 2nd to the 5th will be the Impact tapings. I'll be there live for that. and I should be there for all of this as long as I'm able to be because of work and everything. The admission, of course, is free. You can enter via the park, like I said, the Studio Audience Center to get tickets, or there is a walkway that leads you to the Blue Man Group Theater, the Sharp Aquos Theater, and that is where they have a table set out there so you can get tickets that way. So you don't even have to be in park in order to go to Impact. So in addition to March, we have April dates of April 20th through the 23rd, Sunday, July 2nd through July 6th. Then we have August 17th through August 20th. August 17th and April 20th will be live Impact episodes. There's going to be one night onlys taped. There's going to be matinee shows. There's going to be evening shows. Impact. I'm going to guess there's probably going to be a couple special episodes, like maybe some pay-per-view action potentially. So I guess we'll see if Slammiversary is going to be in Orlando this year or not. I guess we'll find out. So that's an interesting thing going on with Impact lately. ShopTNA.com if you want to get a VIP package for the March tapings next weekend, or when they go on sale will be the tapings for April, July, and August. Obviously, Soundstage 21 most likely will be, let's just say, preoccupied in the months of September, October, and November. So if they want to move on to not missing Impact tapings and still being able to provide wrestling.
That's when they do the UK tapings.
That will be going over to the UK.
Because Jarrett is trying to suck everybody's dick, apparently, in this country.
That's what you were telling me.
Apart from mine, because where's my fucking gold, Jeff?
Ashley just wants his gold. He doesn't want anything else. He doesn't want gratification. He just wants his gold. That's fair. But yeah, that's your Impact recap for the week. This moves us on to
Josh Matthews shit.
So, like I mentioned before, Josh Matthews has gotten into a little bit of hot water. He pretty much put a bullseye on his head with a lot of comments and a lot of the people in the IWC, given the fact that he called himself the greatest play-by-play announcer of all time. I'll say right now, when he's on his game, he's not bad, but he's not the greatest, obviously. I'd love to say I am, but I don't have any way to prove to you guys that I am, other than the commentary I do every once in a while on these shows. But maybe someday I'll get a shot to prove myself too, but I would never say I'm the greatest. He basically went on record. There was a podcast called the Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast, and they actually made a comment on Twitter, and Josh Matthews actually responded back to them. He said, and I quote, "Oh, Real Shoot Wrestling Podcast, taking offense. Did you guys book a great shoot-style promo? You should really shoot yourselves." Yeah, Matthews has been warned by Impact and by Anthem and his antics, and basically they pulled it off the internet as soon as humanly possible. Very good possibility that Josh Matthews most likely days are numbered with the Jeff Jarrett regime of Impact Wrestling.
I'm seriously wondering if fucking Tanay and West are coming back.
I would not be surprised one bit to walk into the Impact Zone and see Don West hawking merchandise. Would not surprise me a bit this week to see that.
Or hell, if he's available and he's willing to take a pay cut, Goldberg.
You know, that wouldn't shock me either at this point. I think anything's up for grabs at this rate.
I mean, hell, if your number 1 and 2 stars in the company right now are both MMA fighters.
Right.
It's just Goldberg will have to go next time inside the hexagon.
Nice. So yeah, that is that's your Impact report for the night, and let's move on to UFC.
Well, MMA, because we have got Bellator to talk about, which
Okay.
was an important thing to talk about because it was sort of a fuck up. Which, to be honest, though, was no actual problem. It wasn't like it was, a proper fuck up. It was just a unintended fuck up, to sort of say. So it was supposed to be headlined by Fedor versus Mitrione and the heavyweights. But they did the weigh-in like Friday, I think, and everything seemed to be okay. And then in the morning of Saturday, Mitrione was pretty bad and got taken to the hospital. And I think it came out that he was passing a kidney stone. And it was very touch and go. It was only like a few hours before the show was going on air that they had to announce that Fedor and Mitrione's match was off the card. And they did offer refunds to people that didn't want to take them. But it was still an okay card, at least the main bit. The main bit of the card, because I won't go through the undercard because Bellator isn't really something we focus on too much. We only focus on the big shows. So with the main card, we had Mauricio Alonso beat Josh Koscheck with a TKO late in the first round. The women's flyweight match saw Beta Ortega beat Brooke Mayo by a doctor stoppage towards the end of the third round. Then in a catchweight fight, I don't know who missed weight, but Anatoly Tokov beat Francisco France with a second round TKO. Then Sheik Congo beat Ollie Thompson unanimously. Two judges gave it 30-25 and the other one gave it 30-26. So 10-8's quite a few there, certainly. And the main event saw Patricky Pitbull Freer beat Josh Thompson with a second round KO punch. Then on Sunday, we had UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Brown from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Only one Fight Pass prelim match here because I guess they just wanted to stack it a little bit for some reason. So Gerald Meerschaert beat Ryan James with an armbar submission in the first round. Then on the Fox Sports 1 preliminary card, Thiago Santos beat Jack Marshman with a spinning heel kick and punches combination TKO in the second round. Ayman Zahabi beat Reginaldo Vieira, unanimous decision. Randa Marcos beat Carla Esparza via split decision. One judge gave it 29-28 to Esparza, but the other two gave it 29-28 to Marcos. And then Santiago Ponzinibbio beat Nordine Taleb unanimously. Then for the main card, which obviously was also on Fox Sports 1 because it's UFC, Paul Felder beat Alessandro Ricci in a first round TKO. Late on, it was like a few seconds before the round was about to end. In a catchweight fight, because Gina Mazane missed weight, Sarah McMahon beat her with an arm triangle choke. Literally only like a minute or so into the fight, so pretty damn quick. Then we had Elias Teradu beat Cesar Ferreira by unanimous decision. I can't remember whether that one was the. There was what I can't remember. From what I remember from hearing what Dave had to say about Dave Meltzer had to say about one of these fights. One of them, it's like the judges were completely against how most people scored the fight. I don't know whether it was this fight or the next fight, which was Gavin Tucker beating Sam Cecilia by unanimous decision. I can't remember. There was somebody was angry and whatever. Well, quite a few people were angry that we had another bad judge call and whatever. Then the double main event of sorts. Johnny Hendricks beat Hector Lombard via unanimous decision. And Derek Lewis beat Travis Brown via a good old punch KO midway into the second round. In terms of bonuses, fight of the night went to Lewis and Brown, the main event. Performance of the night went to some of the lower card fighters. Paul Felder, who opened up the main Fox Sports 1 card. His TKO got him $50,000. And also on the first match of the preliminary Fox Sports 1 card, Thiago Santos's spinning heel kick and punches win over Jack Marshman got him $50,000 as well. So good to see, as I say, some of the people slightly lower down on the card getting rewards along with the main eventers. Now, in terms of the news, that is newsy news. USADA have sent a statement saying that Cyborg didn't disclose spy tone prior to her drug test failure. They said, quote, her use to them initially disclosed, but more importantly, once contacted by USADA, she immediately identified the medication as the source of her test, submitted all necessary medical information, and demonstrated it was being used for legitimately purposes without enhancing her performance. So those are the primary considerations when reviewing any application. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there to some extent. Also, rather worryingly, hearing about this today, Terry Etim was seriously injured in Liverpool after reportedly running in and out of traffic and throwing himself against cars in an attempt to harm himself. So I'm hoping everything's okay with him. Certainly after hearing about something as crazy as that happening. Also, Freddie Roach was on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour show and basically said that it looks as if McGregor versus Mayweather may actually be happening. Also, apparently, Mayweather came to Freddie Roach's gym 3 months ago to ask if McGregor had approached him about training for the fight and said that he was going to fight him and they'd make a lot of money. So, yeah, it's basically come out. USADA has cleared Cyborg, the retroactive TUE, and obviously, that means she can fight. Except, of course, the girl she was supposed to fight has run off. Then the question is, how bad is Cyborg going to cut weight when she's suddenly in a fight like 2 weeks later or whatever? Oh, and Derek Lewis apparently in his win broke his foot against Travis Brown. That's good to know. In terms of stuff coming up this week, there's nothing. Next big thing will be the UFC pay-per-view in a couple, well, basically in 10 days from now. First weekend in March. In Vegas. Because it always has to be Vegas. Which probably means that Ring of Honor will be there. Except they won't be, because I think they're in some other town that weekend, aren't they? I can't remember where, but they've got a show that isn't the anniversary show. I think it's the Manhattan one, isn't it?
Manhattan, yeah. We're actually going to be talking about that because I have the card for Manhattan Mayhem.
Oh, the full card. It should be good, but that's your MMA UFC stuff.
Okay. We move on from the world of mixed martial arts to the world of What Culture Pro Wrestling.
An interesting one, because we've got news mixed in with Loaded here. From what I can tell, this Loaded is basically the last Loaded that we're going to see. The tapings that happened last week are the last ones until, they sort out the editing stuff.
Right.
Because they'd obviously already committed to this and everything. It makes me think that the extra subscription now is just going to be, at least for the next 2 weeks, for the Loaded will be put up for free. Because they're basically they want to put out some free content on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that all these special events and the live events, other than the one that they're doing live on YouTube, will obviously be live or shown first on What Culture Extra. But then, like with the Pro Wrestling World Cup stuff, it'll gradually trickle out after getting an exclusive first showing on like What Culture Extra. So also, for some reason, the weekly magazines have suddenly stopped as well after only 3 issues, despite selling out. So I don't know what's going on there. So Joe Hendry starts the show coming out with chants of local wanker. They'd established that he's a heel. But Hendry basically said Kurt tried to beat him in October with the Hendry lock. So yeah, Kurt Joe's move, even though Joe took it from Kurt. And blames the fans for not supporting him, so Angle paid for the fans' sins. And that he wants to bring prestige back to the world of pro wrestling. So here comes Alberto. And just says, "Shut the fuck up, Joe." And, I'm annoyed that you interrupted my match, except you came out after the match. So, it's like, Alberto's like, you interrupted the match. It's like, he came out afterwards when you'd already buggered off. So, whatever. The crowd want Alberto to fuck Joe Hendry up. Apparently Hendry's mum called Alberto, which makes, obviously, we like, oh, look, Alberto's mum loves... Joe Hendry's mum loves Alberto and whatever. And Hendry wants to fight Alberto, but not until next week. Apparently. So then we got a shot of Bad Bones backstage and says, I don't care about titles. winning or losing, or this company. All I care about is the money. I'm a gun for hire. So then we open up with Drago and El Hijo de Dos Caras versus El Ligero and Gabriel Kidd. So yeah, the guys who are at each other's throats on the pay-per-view are now tag team partners. Okay. Which, solid match. Hitting Kidd with a discus forearm. Also worth noting that Jim Ross said, "What a great way to kick off WCW Loaded."
That's
Ted?
funny.
Ted. So then we get Bad Bones versus Rampage, which is sort of a Hoss fight because obviously it's big guy versus big guy. Bad Bones basically goes under the ring, gets a chain, and smacks against Rampage's head. DQ. And then afterwards, Bones continued to beat the hell out of Rampage. And then Kennedy shows up. So it looks as if, basically Bad Bones is the enforcer for Primate. It's weird. It's worth noting, though, because of his appearance, the crowd chanted at Bad Bones, Perry Saturn, Moppy, and shit Luke Gallows.
I like the last one. That's hilarious.
So we've got a Nixon Newell promo saying she's been in Japan bettering herself and saw what B did with the belt. And then offers a title match to B. Right. So then we get Travis Banks versus Ricochet, which is as good as you think it would be from these two high flyer technical whiz kids. With Ricochet winning with his I know it's listed here in the notes that I've got from Back Body Drop of the spinning inverted brainbuster, which I don't think is the Benadrylla.
I'd have to see it.
Feels like it would be because it's brainbuster. So, but yeah, really, really solid. So then we get Drake versus Alex Gracie. So Gracie comes out, and then Kennedy is following him on to try and calm things down. Of course, Kennedy gets chance of shit George Michael. So basically, because Drake cost Prospect the tag belts, Drake has to be punished as well. So it's Alex Gracie versus Drake. Whoever wins the match gets to go to Orlando. So Gracie's about to get the win with belly to back suplex, but Kennedy pulls the referee out the ring to stop the 3 count. Gracie eventually realizes what happened, only get hit with a code breaker, and Drake wins. So I guess it's official that Prospect are no longer with Kennedy.
Wow.
But Lucas Archer takes on Drake and sorts him out a bit, goes on to Kennedy, and Kennedy gets the mic and explains that I'm the one that should be getting the chance, mocks Archer and Gracie's dream of Orlando, and fires Prospect, apparently. So then the Swords of Essex show up, beat the shit out of the ring announcer, and says that, well, there's no chance of a rematch because Johnny Moss is injured. So it's time to turn our sights onto the bigger fish to fry, which is Drew Galloway. So here comes Kirby and Jack the Jobber. And brings up the tag title match. And I love this line that was in there. Basically, Scott Wainwright became the most successful big man since Duke the Jumpster Drosy. It's like, that's random ass trivia from Kirby there. And Will wants a WCW title match against Galloway. Kirby refuses. So Ospreay super kicks Jack the Jobber.
Finally.
So the Swords double team Kirby. Drew Galloway comes to make the save. So it's time for a tag match main event of Swords of Essex versus Kirby and Galloway, which finishes with Kirby a dropkick assisted Death Alley driver. And a pretty solid main event, I will say. Afterwards, though, Galloway clothesline both of the Swords, unleashes his fury on Wainwright, and then gets hit with an os cutter from out of nowhere to close the show. So, there's some very good matches on here, but it's confusing as to where this is all going, especially when we already know, because they announced it, that Ospreay versus Galloway is happening on the live YouTube special on March the 6th in less than 2 weeks. However, the big bit of news is the brackets have been revealed for the English leg of the Pro Wrestling World Cup. And I really hope Owen doesn't know what this is.
I do not, actually.
Right. So, the brackets go like this. We've got Rampage versus Magnus / Nick Aldis, whatever you want to call him. The winner of which will take on the winner of Martin Kirby versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, wow.
And then in the other half, it'll be Zach Gibson one-on-one with Jimmy Havoc, which of course means the winner of that faces the winner of Marty Skull versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Wow. And all of the matches in the cup are going to be featured on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. But that means you've got two possible finals, like finals of the whole 64-man tournament in the first round of the tournament.
Yeah.
Man, that's some fucked up shit. Yeah. So yeah, that is as it stands, WCPW.
All right. We move on to NXT.
Next.
Yeah, this is interesting show. This is their last bit of the tapings they had from the ones they did in Full Sail. Obviously, tonight they taped at UCF. We've got results from that too, so we'll get to that in a little bit. The show starts off with the number one contenders match to the NXT Women's Championship. It is Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan versus Peyton Royce. Right away, Ashley, I'm sure you've seen Space Jam before.
Oh, come on and slam and welcome to the jam.
Yes. Is it just me, or did Liv Morgan's gear, as baggy as it was, remind you of Lola Bunny from the movie?
I see what you mean.
Yes.
Reminded me more of Bill Murray, but you know.
We'll go with that. This match was not very good. They basically kept Ember out, and they worked the singles match for the most part of it. There was a really awkward-looking head scissor in the corner from Liv. Again, that knocks Ember to the outside, so Peyton ends up going for a superplex. Liv blocks it. And they do the Tower of Doom spot. Ember goes for the Bad Moon Rising. Billy gets in the ring. She eats it. And then Liv knocks Ember out of the ring. Peyton with the boot on Liv. And then hits an absolutely beautiful bridge in more ways than one on the perfect plex and gets the win. So she will be moving on to a shot at Asuka. And I can tell you right now, it didn't happen at UCF. So stay tuned.
Oh my God, really?
Not that I'm seeing, nope.
WrestleMania is going to be...
We still got a little bit of time, don't worry. We get a vignette from Mark Andrews.
Petrified.
Oh boy. We have vignettes on both Mark Andrews and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. And then we get a promo for Cassius Ohno, which I have to say is one of the most awkward names in the world to say. We get our true main event of the evening.
Part of you realizes you want to say Chris Hero ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yes, exactly.
Because one, it's easier to say Chris Hero.
Yes.
Two, you can't swear.
Especially me, especially on here. So we get our second match, which is pretty much what I would call the main event of the show, even though it wasn't. And that is Andrews against Pete Dunne. Solid match here. A lot of good back and forth. A lot of really hard-hitting match. Dunne with the Orange Crush for a near fall. He goes to the bitter end, gets countered. Dunne gets caught with a reverse Rana. They do a double down. Dunne gets the rebound with the German. And he basically goes for it again. He sets up for the Orange Crush one more time, and it gets countered into a Rey Mysterio-style Rana for the near fall. Fans bought on it, really into this match in every way possible. So he nails a forearm. He goes to the bitter end again, gets countered into an inside cradle for a near fall. Palm strike, sets up for the Tornado DDT, and Stun Dog Millionaire fights out of the Orange Crush attempt. He goes up for the Shooting Star Press, gets the knees up, and he hits the bitter end and wins it. Solid 10 minutes between these two superstars, and I cannot wait to see Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne go one-on-one at TakeOver Orlando for the United Kingdom Championship. Let's hope they set that up. The British invasion continues. We'll get to that.
Pete is going to be in Orlando that weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know we'll get to the Progress show is Friday, isn't it?
I believe so, yes. The most popular
different
show of
flag.
WrestleMania weekend.
Well, at least as part of the WWN
Right.
banner of stuff.
So we get Billy
Hard
and
to
Peyton.
tell where it is compared with, Ring of Honor
Right.
and WrestleCon and everything, because obviously they ain't part of the same shit.
No, we'll be getting to the WrestleMania cards in the next several weeks here on the network and on the show. Once we get more information, we'll talk about them. I'm not going to, like, when news drops, I'm not going to say, oh, by the way, this got announced. I just want to break down the entire cards and do it proper. And then cry because I won't get to go live because I got tickets to Takeover. So Billy and Peyton are in the back, and basically Asuka is going to be facing Peyton next week. They cut her off. Peyton says, you know what, I'd already be champion if it wasn't for crazy Nikki Cross. And basically they ended up doing the Mean Girls shtick as always, and pretty much so it's going to be a matter of time for Peyton as NXT Women's Champion. We get a promo on Patrick Clark. He's going to be in action next week. And then other than Asuka and Peyton, we're going to see DIY against the Authors for the tag belts. We get Ty Dillinger in the Performance Center talking about Sanity. He talks about Roddy and Jose standing up and basically helping him go toe-to-toe with Sanity. They're not going to be bullied anymore. He says he's got their backs from now on. Main event time, Bobby Roode defending the NXT Championship against No Way Jose. Roode's great entrance as always. Jose's got that stupid conga line for the crowd that I hate so much. Decent match here. So Jose goes for the TKO and he gets caught. And basically Roode ends up setting up for the Glorious DDT, but he gets countered into a Cobra Clutch Slam for a near fall. He loads up for the fastball. Roode ducks out of it. And he ends up getting caught with a forearm when he dives off the middle turnbuckle for the crown. He goes to the outside, and this is really good here. Basically, he was dead to rights, but he used his ability to roll to the outside so he wouldn't get pinned. So I thought that worked really well. But he got back in the ring. Jose tried to bring him back in, and Roode planted him with the Glorious DDT. After the match is over, Roode applies a Lion Tamer half crab, which is basically the best way I can describe it. And the next thing you know, some very familiar music plays, and here comes Chris Hero from the back. Screw it.
Oh, no.
Bobby Roode gets cleared from the ring. Crowd's chanting, welcome back. He basically says, Cassius Ohno ain't nothing to mess with. Thought that was really very useful when he said that. And he says, I got unfinished business in this company. And he says, you got what I want and what I need, and that's the NXT Championship. And Roode's like, oh, you have a sad sob story, but I'm a fighting champion. You don't have to wait. Why don't you take your jacket off and we'll fight right now? So Roode gets on the apron, and then, of course, Ono goes to remove the jacket, and, of course, he gets the Pillman clip, and he starts working him over. And then Ono rains down the forearms and, of course, delivers the death by elbow chant, which is, of course, is getting peppered by the Full Sail crowd. Back body drop. He literally throws a shoe because apparently this is Austin Powers, and Bobby Roode powders. Solid.
Who throws a shoe?
Apparently Chris Hero throws a shoe. So NXT just finished up their tapings at University of Central Florida. Obviously, if I would have been in town, I totally would have been there. But I wasn't, so I have to go with results. There's a lot of people, a lot of my friends are actually in the building tonight, but I do have a lot of things to talk about. Well, first off, we're going to mention the dark match, which introduced a new name.
I don't think it was a dark match.
That's what it's saying.
Considering what happens later on in the night, it doesn't make sense that it would be a dark match.
I mean, there's the people that were there saying it was a dark match, so I mean, I can't really say either way until we see if it's on or not. But I can't.
Heidi Lovelace is back, except she isn't Heidi anymore.
She's now Ruby Riott. And
of
she went
course-
one-on-one with Kimberly.
Yeah, and of course, Ruby won.
Yeah.
Ruby. Ah!
So apparently the March 8th episode starts off with Sanity cutting a promo. They're in the woods, deep in the woods. Maybe they'll find Andy. Any longtime Podcast Network listeners of the Horror Nights podcast would probably giggle at me saying that.
Into James Woods we go, we show we're not going to rip off Family Guy.
Oh boy. So they talk about how Ty Dillinger is drowned in his choices and he's bringing all his friends down with him. Eric Young says, you need to fight alone. And Nikki says, if not, they're going to burn the whole world down. So yeah, some people just like to see the world burn, actually. Apparently Sanity does.
Yeah, but have they got big blue dongs?
I don't know at this point. Elias Sampson comes out to perform. He gets cut off by Ono. He says, when he comes out, fans say, oh no, because that's what they say when the Drifter comes out. Elias is like, I'm going to start over again. Ono stops him again, says, you know what, this same thing's not working out for you. And then Drifter's like, that's your first run in NXT. And like, oh, Ono's like, you know what, how about this? How about we have a match where the loser leaves NXT? I will say that Logan Shulo, the current Elias Sampson, has worked with Chris Hero in the past. So I have a feeling the match would be good if they actually gave it time. I guess we'll see because I didn't look into it. Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young never gets started. Sanity gets sent to the back, and they return with a beaten Roddy Strong. And Ty checks on him. No way Jose comes out for some stupid reason. I don't know why Jose's part of this, but he's over, so I guess that's what it is. They carry Roddy to the back. Jose and Ty charge the ring, and of course, Sanity lets the numbers game do the talking for them. Cien Almas over Ho Loon. Almas wins with the Hammerlock DDT. Straight up squash match. And we saw Ono over Samson. Loser leaves NXT. He wins with the rolling elbow. And after the match, we get the na-na-na-na, hey, hey, goodbye chant. And Hero destroys the guitar.
Because it's his world. How do you feel about that, Jeff Jarrett?
Oh, boy. So we get Ember Moon versus Billie Kay as the match here. This is quick. So Ember basically stops Peyton from interfering. Ember hits the Bad Moon Rising. And apparently, from what people are saying in the live crowd, Ashley, Billie Kay got a stinger in her neck.
Ooh, fuck.
And I'm going to guess on this it being a stinger because she was helped to the back by trainers and she was clutching her neck and crying in pain. So that's not good. We get the Revival singles action tag match against the Ely twins. Big monster babyface twins. It works. The Authors of Pain come out and they destroy them. So then they go after Dash and Dawson, but they powder, and then they nail one of the Elys with the last chapter. We get Heavy Machinery against Mike Marshall and Jonathan Ortegan. Johnny Vandal, of course, from I Believe in Wrestling and other various indie promotions in the Florida area. Straight up squash match. Heavy Machinery get the win, which basically they sandwich Vandal in between the two of them, and then Otis Dozovic body slams Tucker on top of Vandal for the win. The show ends with Nikki Cross over Maisie Estrella. I don't know why Crazy Mary's not getting these matches, and Macy is. Hopefully she'll be back on the road soon. Straight up, just Golden Gate Spin City from Nikki Cross. She just uses 6 of them in a row and then gets the quick win. Jose and Ty run out for the attack on Sanity, but then again, Sanity gets the upper hand. March 15th, basically Andrade Cien Almas defeats Oni Lorcan. Great stuff here, back and forth match with Andrade hitting the shotgun knees and then the hammerlock DDT. We get Asuka in a non-title match against Priscilla Zuniga, which is Angel Rose from Miami, Florida, Indies. She basically gets a quick win. She cuts a promo and says, "Ember, this is your head," and then starts kicking Priscilla in the head. And then she basically nails her with a roundhouse kicks and the deadlift German. She kneels with the pin, but she pulls her up anyway, locks on the Oscar lock, doesn't want to break it up. Referee have to pull her off. She cuts a Japanese promo, and then she says, "Hey, listen up. Your future goes through me. There will be no eclipse." So, yeah, we're setting up Asuka versus Ember Moon for TakeOver, even though I don't see how we're getting there. Authors of Pain over the Ely Twins. Quick squash match. They hit the Super Collider, and apparently it was botched, so they do it again. Ellering comes out, says the Revival have some guts, but they're the new name. There's a new name in his book. Revival says they're the best, but he created the algorithm, and the authors are his soon-to-be dynasty. Here comes DIY. Tommaso Ciampa says he has no idea what algorithm means. Johnny's like, I don't know either, but what we know is we can beat the authors. And Ciampa's like, if the Revival hadn't saved you, we'd have won the championships, and we deserve our rematch. Revival come out. It says, we sat on the sidelines in San Antonio, and we watched the AOP take the belts. And there's three things you don't do in sports. You don't bench Tom Brady, you don't pull Michael Jordan in the fourth, and you don't keep the Revival on the sidelines when the division falls apart. Truer words have never been spoken, and I'm not a sports guy. Dawson's like,
put babies in the.
Apparently you can. Dawson says it's time for reality check. They're the greatest tag team, the best tag team ever. So Regal comes out, and we've got an elimination three-way dance at TakeOver Orlando. DIY, the Authors of Pain, and the Revival.
Ooh, elimination.
Yes, I get to see the top guys 2 nights that weekend. That's going to be awesome. Logan asked if Samson is gone or if he's being repackaged. For all the heat that Elias Sampson's character got, I think they'll probably repackage him or do something else with him. I mean, usually, if he's Mojo Rawley, they'll send him to SmackDown. I wouldn't be shocked to see him on the main roster because they make a lot of dumb moves sometimes, and I don't dislike Elias Sampson like a lot of people on the internet do.
They'll do the obvious thing, what they do with all wrestlers. They have them dress up as Liberace and have an English bloke be their butler.
Oh, boy. So the final set of tapings, March 22nd show, three-way dance between Dash Wilder, Johnny Gargano, and Akam of the Authors of Pain. Dash and Dawson bombed out during the match. Akam powerbombed Gargano, and basically Dawson held the leg so Dash can get the win. Yeah, nice. Bobby Roode retained the NXT Championship over Chris Hero. Crowd was split left and right. Roode ducks the rolling elbow, hits a double R, near fall, goes for the glorious DDT. Ono hits the rolling elbow. Roode goes outside, kind of like the match with No Way Jose we just watched. Ono hits a senton, and Roode blocks up it looks like what they're describing. It blocked up oh, God, long day. He tried to get a roll up, and Ono gets neck first across the top rope, and that allows Roode to hit the glorious DDT. It looks like they were setting up for an O'Connor roll, and he just slammed Ono neck first into the top rope. So that's the only thing I can imagine, given what they're describing from these spoilers. Shinsuke Nakamura returned to beat TJP in the main event. Nakamura dabbed. Huge pop from that. They went back and forth. Kinshasa gets the win. Shinsuke hugs TJ. Motions for the title. Here comes Bobby Roode. He says, hit the bricks. It's my show now, and it's my ring. You got 2 seconds to get out, and I got some friends. Cien Almas runs out and attacks Nakamura. They double team for a minute. Here comes Finn Balor to make the save. So he clotheslines Andrade out of the ring and hits the sling blade on Bobby Roode, and then Roode walks in the Kinshasa. Finn and cuts a promo basically saying, I'm not clear yet, but when I am, I'm coming back for what's mine. It's Nakamura's birthday, apparently, and that's what this segment was all about. And he says, one last time, we are NXT. Definitely a dark segment for the live crowd, for sure.
Hang on. Nakamura. Shinsuke.
Ashley, of course, trying to figure this out.
It's the fucking footballer. I don't want to football. February 24th. So yeah. I was wondering whether it was like it was his birthday when it'd be going out in March.
I can see what you mean, but the way they set it up, Ashley, just reading the description, it sounds like it was a dark segment for the live crowd in UCF.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it made sense because it's like, yeah, Finn's coming back to NXT because, you know, the main roster thing, I guess, was too soon, even though it was too late.
I wouldn't have an issue if Balor went back to NXT. They could use him right now. So apparently, according to people that were live in the building, they didn't use half of the arena. So yeah, there was not as many people as should have been there. I mean, the UCF arena can hold. I'm trying to see if I can get this information here.
Probably the ticket touts are to blame.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, it's one thing I heard. Okay, this isn't wrestling related, but there's two interesting developments with the ticket touts. One of them is selling tickets to an Ed Sheeran charity gig.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, because they're second-hand ticket sales, there's no charity money
Right.
happening. And then the second one is certain people are being allowed to go to the shows because the person that actually bought the ticket goes with them and goes into the building, then just hands the other person the ticket and then they leave.
That's bad.
There is a website that's actually, I can't remember which one it is, but there's a website that's actually encouraging people to do that. Because it gets around the whole system of reselling tickets.
Well, I know that they did that in Full Sail, and they basically changed the way that they did advanced ticketing because too many people were getting screwed out of getting tickets.
Yeah. Are you listening, PWG?
So if we have a report, so obviously we won't be able to talk about it tonight, but when we get some updates on Billy Kay's condition, we will shoot it out to you guys on the show probably next week.
Yeah. Probably next Wednesday.
Yeah, I'd
Never
say
know
so.
if it's serious enough, we might bring it up on Monday.
Yeah, if I have any information on Monday, we'll definitely bring it up. So that's NXT. That's NXT for the next several weeks too. So there you go. This moves us on to our next segment here on the show, and that is Ring of Honor.
So this is pretty much the big one.
Yep.
One shall stand, one shall fall. One shall be Shia LaBeouf.
There could be only one true Highlander.
So we start off with Cyrus Young versus Bull James. Pretty good opener. Cyrus Young winning with the misery. Basically thanks to some help from the Beer City Bruiser. You know, distracting James quite a bit through the match. But still a good match, you know. Makes you wonder why Bull got cut and Elias Sampson didn't. Which is nothing against Elias Sampson, except it clearly is. So now we've got some Jay Briscoe comments. And says, look, you can go back 15 years in the company with me. My 18-year-old pale ass was the first thing to come through the curtains on that first show. I'm an 8-time tag champ, 2-time world champ. Now it's time to become 3-time champ. But the only number that matters is one. One match and one man is left. And that's Christopher Daniels. So they now recap Bobby Fish winning Survival of the Fittest to get a world title match. And Bobby was winning Survival of the Fittest was a means to an end. It was a simple A, then B situation. Win Survival of the Fittest, become world champ. Not a single soul in the locker room is capable of doing it other than him. March the 4th in Manhattan will be no different. This opportunity exists because he created it, just like forming one half of the greatest two-man smash machine. Just like him winning the TV title. He's not overconfident. He is Bobby Fish. Being Bobby Fish will be more than enough on March the 4th. And Bobby tells Adam to look into my eyes. Because the man that will be looking back at you, Adam, is going to be the next Ring of Honor World Champion. So before the next match starts, Colt Cabana gets on the mic and says hello to Dalton Castle, who's on the announce table. And tells the boys it's a sad day in Ring of Honor that you're allowed in this ring. The ring that Colt built. I wonder what Jim Cornette thinks of that. And Colt tells the people not to boo him because he is a legend. But tells Dalton that they're not finished. And will literally destroy Dalton's two schmucks. And this is what happens when you mess with the Iron Jew. We got Iron fucking Claws, we got Iron Men, we got Iron Sheiks, now we got Iron Jews. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, Cabana versus the boys. Cabana sort of takes him out. Not pretty easily because it does go on for a bit, but boy number 2 gets the Chicago Skyline, and boy number 1 gets the Billy Goat's Cut, and boy 1 has to tap. Just realised, but they're saying it like that, it sounds like one of those anonymity trials. It's like boy 1 came forward with accusations of sexual assault. Right. So then we got some Christopher Daniels comments, which means epic promo. Any normal man would be happy with all the accomplishments I've had in Ring of Honor. I've been tag team champ. Well, I was first tag team champion, second television champion, man in the first main event, wrestled in the first hour-long title match. All the people that he's wrestled, you know, Danielson, McGuinness, you know, all the names from over God knows how many years, AJ, all that sort of stuff. And he's been called the best that never was, but it's about to change because Daniels is one step closer to becoming world champion, and that it is destiny to become that role. And then they recap with the top prospect tournament winners from the first round. Because, that they've shown the 4 men that have won the top prospect over the last 4 years, because that starts in next week's show. So now we got Mark Briscoe and Kazarian on commentary for Jay Briscoe versus Christopher Daniels. The match is as really good as you expect, mainly because it goes through 2 commercials and an extended final last segment bit. But Daniels manages to win, blocking a superplex and crotching Briscoe on the turnbuckles, and hits a super duper Angel's Wings on Jay Briscoe to get the 3 count. Daniels celebrates with Kazarian. And then Daniels goes over to Jay Briscoe. They shake hands and they hug each other. And that's Ring of Honor. Overall, just for the main event alone, try and catch it if you can on the Fight app if you don't have it on your local TV.
Right. So, a couple things, ROH things, obviously. This Saturday, Manhattan Mayhem at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. So, there are...
I don't think it's this Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, March the 4th.
Hammerstein Ballroom, the card as of this moment, this is going to be Dalton Castle versus Cole Cabana, Dragon Lee versus Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll puts the television title on the line against Sanjay Dutt. We're going to have the Young Bucks defend the tag belts against Jay White and Lio Rush, and Adam Cole puts the Ring of Honor title up against Bobby Fish. Now, interestingly enough, there is going to be a very special meet and greet autograph session 90 minutes prior to the bell time.
Uh-oh.
And in attendance will be the Young Bucks, Cody, Will Ospreay, Silas Young, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Dragon Lee. If you get your autographs from a singles wrestler, it's going to be $20 for one personal item or an 8x10, plus a post photo. Tag wrestlers is $30, which is a personal item, or 8x10. That is, the 8x10s will be supplied by Ring of Honor, and one post photo. Supercard of Honor, which I hate very much that I have to miss it. They also announced a Festival of Honor, actually.
Does it involve friendship?
Yeah, no, it does not. It involves Owen very sad. He has to miss it. Festival of Honor will be held before Supercard of Honor. It's also going to be in Lakeland, so you're going to be able to meet your favorite ROH superstars, including the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, Cody, Dalton Castle, Jay Lethal, Christopher Daniels, Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay, and many more. Plus the superstars of CMLL and New Japan, such as Jushin Thunder Liger, Yoshihashi, Dragon Lee, and Volador Jr. This will be the only time, potentially, fans will be able to meet their favorite CMLL, Ring of Honor, and New Japan stars under one roof. Now, here's something that also applies to me, which is annoying. There's going to be Q&As with your favorite stars, and there's going to be raffle tickets. They're raffling off a chance to call a live Women of Honor match. Yeah. My big break could happen. Or if you could either win a live Women of Honor match or a pre-taped Ring of Honor match of the past. Mandy Leon, Kelly Klein, and Luchadoras Emma Pola and Marcella will be doing battle for Women of Honor supremacy. The Festival of Honor will be 2 to 5:30 p.m. Autographs with the Q&As with rotating panels. Your raffle, 3 gold winners on that raffle get to call the live Women of Honor match. Silver winners will get to call a taped ROH match. $10 for tickets. If you want to get 3 tickets, $25. So also in attendance, as well as Adam Cole, Marty Scurll, the Young Bucks, are going to be the Kingdom, Jay Lethal, Will Ospreay, Dalton Castle, Christopher Daniels, and Frankie Kazarian, Cody, Silas Young and the Beer City Bruiser, the Briscoes, Jay White, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Cheeseburger, Yoshihashi, Dragon Lee, Volador Jr., and Jushin Thunder Liger. Pricing is the same as Manhattan Mayhem, $20 for the singles wrestlers, $30 for the tag wrestlers. More information, ROHWrestling.com. And Ashley, also the card for the 15th anniversary show, March 10th from Sam's Town Casino in Las Vegas, is shaping up quite well right now. Kingdom defending the 6-man tag belts against Dalton Castle and the Boys. Jay Lethal and Bobby Fish for the #1 contender to the Ring of Honor Championship. The Young Bucks put the tag belts up against Roppongi Vice in a Las Vegas street fight. Leo Rush gets a shot at Marty Scurll on the television title. And the main event, Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Adam Cole defends against Christopher Daniels.
Sounds interesting.
Indeed. Lots going on with ROH right now. Again, I'd totally like to be there for this, but unfortunately I cannot. This moves to New Japan Pro Wrestling. A few things going down right now.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. So with the anniversary show, it went off to a really bad start because Hanare and Tomoyuki Oka went to a referee stoppage in favor of Oka because Hanare got taken out on a stretcher. So I hope he isn't seriously injured. The other thing worth noting on the undercard, or other things that were worth noting on the undercard, because obviously this being an anniversary show, it wasn't substantial storyline stuff until a bit later on. We had the team of Suzuki Gun of Suzuki, Iizuka, Kanemaru, and Taichi beating Shibata, Nagata, Liger, and Tiger Mask 4. Interestingly, there was a lot of heat between Suzuki and Shibata, with Suzuki further provoking Shibata after the match. So it looks as if we might be getting Shibata versus Suzuki now.
Oh, wow.
Because he failed with Okada. This could be interesting. The guy that no sells versus the guy that no sells. This will get awkward. Team New Japan of Taguchi, Kushida, Juice Robinson, and Tanahashi, and Dave Finlay, beat the entire LIJ of Naito, Sanada, Evil, Bushi, and Takahashi. Juice Robinson getting the pin on Bushi. Interestingly, Taguchi was focused on Takahashi throughout and getting that junior heavyweight title shot. And the main event saw Makabe and Honma beat Yano and Ishii. Or the King Kong knee drop from Makabe on Yano. So yeah, the guy whose hometown it is, or for his anniversary show, I should say, I guess, got the win. So yeah, they got the win over the tag champs. And interestingly, declined his involvement in the New Japan Cup because he wants to focus on getting the tag belts. And then Riki Shoshu appeared to help his student honor the 20th anniversary of his career. And then next up are this weekend's Ring of Honor New Japan double headers, I guess, if you will. So the matches of note for the Sunday show. On the 27th. Well, is it 20? I don't know if it's 27th or 28th or 26th and 27th. I think it's 26th and 27th. I think it's Saturday and Sunday.
It is 26th and 27th. I've got these right now, too.
Yeah. So we've got Kushida for night one. It's Kushida, Juice Robinson, and Dave Finlay versus Silas Young, Yado, and Gedo. Sanada, Evil, and Bushi defend the 6-man tag belts against Liger, Tiger Mask 4, and Delirious. Crazy team. Chaos of Okada, Goto, Yoshihashi, and Will Ospreay take on Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro, Tamatonga, and Tangaloa. War Machine of Rowan Hansen take on the Young Bucks. Dalton Castle teams up with Taguchi and Tanahashi to take on Takahashi, Naito, and Punisher Martinez. Jay Lethal teams with Shibata to take on Cody and Hangman Page. And the Briscoes face Omega and Adam Cole. Then on Sunday, night 2, it's Kushida, Hanare, and Dave Finlay, which I'm guessing could be changing because of Hanare's injury. Taking on Silas Young, Yado, and Gato. Then Delirious teams up with Dalton Castle, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask 4, and Taguchi to take on LIJ of Naito, Sonata, Evil Bushi, and Takahashi. Then Guerrillas of Destiny face War Machine. Jay Lethal, Tanahashi, and Juice Robinson take on Takahashi, Yujiro, I guess I should say. Bad Luck Fale and Hangman Page. I guess when I say Takahashi, I mean the former Kamitachi. And when I mean Yujiro Takahashi, I'll just say Yujiro. They got the same surname, even though they're not related. The bastards. Hiroki Goto defends the Never Openweight title against Punisher Martinez. Adam Cole defends the Ring of Honor World title against Yoshihashi. And then the Briscoes team up with Okada to take Kenny Omega. God damn it, I want to stay up.
Well, actually, you did mention the opening match. Now it has been changed via NJPW1972.com to David Finlay and Kushida against Jado and Silas Young. And just a regular tag match.
Gato is taking a rest because he is
Yep.
the booker.
That is correct.
The bastard. However, it doesn't end there.
Nope.
Because New Japan has been doing this announcing of stuff and things. Yes. So, the full card was released for the New Japan Roadshow on March the 1st. This Wednesday. Featuring as its main event Gato versus Tiger Mask 4 and Tiger Mask W. Whole load of other tag matches set up on there as well. And then the anniversary show next Monday, the 6th. The junior tag belts are on the line with Romero and Beretta defending against Kanemaru and Taichi from Suzuki Gun. Katsuyori Shibata defends the British heavyweight title against the debuting Zack Sabre Jr. Yano and Ishii defend the senior tag belts, WGP tag belts, against Makabe and Honma. Takahashi defends the junior heavyweight belt against Taguchi. And then in the commemorative anniversary match, Okada versus Tiger Mask W. Also, there is a show the night after that on the 7th of March, but that won't be announced until after the 6th of March show is finished and extinguished and whatever.
And that leads you right to the Cup a couple days later.
Yeah. So, shall I jump into some news?
I've got news too.
There's some interesting shit from Mexico.
Real quick, I got some breaking
So they've
news.
announced. Breaking news.
Yeah, we had a lot of deaths in the wrestling world lately. Apparently, we just had another one. Yeah, we just had another one. It's not a name that most people would even recognize, but Johnny K9, Bruiser Bedlam from Smoky Mountain, he passed away at the age of 51 in a Toronto halfway house. So he was paroled from a prison term for conspiracy to commit murder. Debuted in Stampede Wrestling. He worked as an enhancement talent as Johnny K9. And then he went on, worked in Japan and worked for New Japan and Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. Smoky Mountain, he changed to Bruiser Bedlam. He was managed by James E. Cornette. That was part of a feud with Bullet Bob Armstrong. A lot of you that watch Smoky Mountain know all about Bruiser Bedlam and the matches he had with Bob Armstrong and Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony. And that's the reason I know who he is. Had some issues, had a drug trafficking for coke, 7-month sentence for assault. He was a president of the Hamilton, Ontario chapter of Satan's Choice Outlaw Motorcycle Club. Apparently, he was kicked out of a strip club for wearing gang collars, so he decided to bomb a police station. 33 months in prison in 1998, conspiracy to commit murder for plotting to kill the Bacon brothers and other members of the Red Scorpions gang. Guilty to conspiracy charges, 13 years in prison, but he was incarcerated for only 4 years and 8 months. So yeah, he's had a wild life, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, he was Johnny K9 or Bruiser Bedlam. So I just want to mention that real quick before we move forward.
No, certainly. So AAA's Raider Reyes, they've announced a card this week.
Nice.
For March 19th. There is a 4-person possible dark match, so who knows? Then we've got a multi-woman match with Fabi Apache, Mary Apache, La Hiedra, Lady Shani, somebody, Goya Kong, and Big Mammy to determine a number 1 contender to the Reina de Reinas title, which Taya Valkyrie has. So she'll be defending it later that night or probably straight after it. But in a number 1 contenders match for the tag belts, Dark Cuervo and Dark Scorio take on Pagano and El Macias. In a mask versus hair match, it's Aerostar versus Superfly. I think Superfly is going bald.
Probably.
Who knows, though? Falls Count Anywhere match with Psycho Clown teaming up with Dr. Wagner Jr. to take on Monster Clown and Murder Clown. So even though they're supposed to be like enemies or whatever, Psycho Clown's teaming up with Wagner. Pretty confused. And then for the Raider Reyes, a triple threat. El Hijo de Fantasma versus Tejano Jr. versus Johnny Mundo. So there's a lot there, to be quite honest, to be a bit weird. So Lady Shani probably would have been Taya's challenger. Now all of a sudden is being her versus loads of other people to get a chance at Taya. Psycho and Wagner, who are enemies, as I said, teammates. The OGT and the Apaches aren't in a match against each other like they were sort of building to. Superfly versus Aerostar was already set up at the last show, Guerrero de Titanes. And the clowns betraying Dr. Wagner Jr., Monster Clown and Murder Clown, will be airing this week. So, very little build up to it. The guys over at Lucha Blog are a bit skeptical about it, but we'll have to see what happens. However, the interesting thing is coming from another tournament that they've set up, the La Lave a la Gloria contest. The thing that's worth noting is people have noticed that the logo for the talent search contest, which is what it is, basically it's to try and find a male exotica and a mini. So it's basically like their equivalent of Tough Enough. The only issue being is it looks to be a color palette switched version of the logo for it anyway. It seems to be a color switch logo of Arizona State's Lucha Libre Pro promotion. So we could be having some legal shit here. They also had a press conference to talk about stuff, obviously not mentioning the stolen logo, but kept using it and whatever for some reason. The big reveal, the new director of talent at AAA is Vampiro.
That's
Apparently.
very interesting.
Taking over Conan's job. And I'm relating to that from Dave's news from last week, because we are a little bit behind on that stuff. Lucha Underground seasons 1 and 2 will be coming to Netflix between March and May. So not yet. So who knows when. Jarrett and the Anthem people were meeting ITV in the UK regarding World of Sport and sucking dicks. Where's my fucking gold? No news as to whether Galloway or the Hardys have re-signed.
I've heard both, so I don't know what's true and what's not at this point. I have a feeling you can probably expect both of them at the tapings next week.
Worth noting regarding all that Josh Matthews stuff, EC3 said, I stand by Josh Matthews' claim on his play-by-play ability because it's a difficult job to call some of the shit we've put on TV. Shots fired. Worth noting, Vince wasn't at any of last week's TV tapings or Elimination Chamber. I'm guessing he was there or something. The top WWE executives who got their stock bonuses were the Chief Revenue and Market Officer, who got roughly $5 million worth of stock. Stephanie McMahon got just under $1 million. Michael Luisi got just under $1 million. Kevin Dunn got about $5 million. But then worth noting that Dunn sold enough of his stock to get $2 million of cash. And then George Barrios got about $5 million as well. Worth noting here from Dave, Kurt Angle will be doing some wrestling in WWE.
Yep, I got that news too.
Probably on a very limited schedule. Who knows? We mentioned that last week about Cena being off all the shows, including Money in the Bank. Goldberg's going to be next week in Green Bay, as well as the Raw in Chicago. Scheduled to be on he's now not scheduled to be on any show then until the February 27th show. Interesting time. Lesnar is, though, scheduled for every Raw until Mania. Shane McMahon's going to be on the Madison Square Garden show, even though it's a Raw and Smackdown show, so who knows what's happening there. Darren Young had elbow surgery back last week in Birmingham. Expected to be out of action for roughly 6 months. Kelly was apparently backstage in Vegas for Raw and was one of the women that they called regarding identity or an idea for WrestleMania. Victoria/Tara has also teased something that's happening.
Yep.
So we'll have to see. And Jim Ross has reported that Angle will be going into the Hall of Fame thanks to Cena. And also, as they mentioned with the whole referee being blurred out with TNA, Lucha did send Impact a cease and desist. So that's why the blurring happened and everything. And the most important one, Brazzers are doing a Montreal Screwjob promo or promo porno thing.
I haven't heard this yet.
And apparently, on Instagram, yesterday, on Tuesday, Mia Malkova posted up a tweet saying, "On set for Brazzers with Johnny Castle and Romy Rain." And the way that the pictures have been done, which aren't even official sort of Brazzers pictures, but I guess unofficial sort of, yeah, we're making it. Johnny Castle is going to be the Vince McMahon character. Mia Malkova is going to be Shawn Michaels, and Romy Rain is going to be Bret Hart. So I guess Bret's going to fuck Bret, possibly.
Do we want to throw out the irony of her name being Romy Rain? Is that something that's coming up in the near future too?
The irony is the top that she's wearing, at least because it looks like the top of Bret Hart's gear.
You're right.
Her top that's covering up her boobs, at least at the start, has got black straps and looks like a black vest. It does eventually go down to like the pink sort of cut off, like it did on Bret's gear, but certainly the top looks sort of Roman-esque if Roman had big tits. Also, it's weird to see the woman being Shawn Michaels with the whole diamond studded, not the diamonds, the metal studs, rhinestones, I guess.
Mm.
The rhinestone red X over her tits. Sort of like that was the gear that Shawn had for Mania, was it?
Yeah.
When he dropped the belt to Angle.
Yeah.
Looks like they're sort of going with that.
Interesting news. I've got some too.
Go ahead.
So this past weekend was the annual toy fair in New York.
Uh-oh.
And there's a couple of things of note that came out of this. Number one, Goldberg's first Elite figure is going to be coming out with the Mattel Elite scale ring.
Good.
There's going to be a Target exclusive NXT TakeOver series.
Interesting.
Now, this series will be a Build a Bailey Buddy, the inflatable Bailey Tube Men. So you'll be able to use the series to collect different inflatable tube men.
What?
This series is very interesting because it features the first figure of Ty Dillinger and Andrade Cien Almas. Also includes the original Kevin Owens figure, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Hideo Itami, and yes, Eva Marie. Elite 49 and 50.
NXT, I can't remember.
Elite 49 and 50 will feature Shane McMahon's newest figure in many years, and the second series of the WWE Zombie figures featuring AJ Styles, Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Seth Rollins. I do like the fact that the Owens shirt literally says "Bite Owens, bite." Macho Man will be getting the Macho Man Randy Savage will be getting a Defining Moments figure from his WrestleMania 3 gear with a cloth robe. There's going to be a SummerSlam series that's going to be featuring battle packs of Mankind, as well as a new Elite Finn Balor.
Ooh.
And a double pack of the Honky Tonk Man and the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay, that's a bit different.
A new head scan for Seth Rollins, second series of Tough Talkers, as well as a championship takedown ring playset. Jack Pacific is going to be making new wrestling buddies. John Cena and Finn Balor are the ones that are announced right away. 31-inch tall Stone Cold Steve Austin and AJ Styles figures. Mattel's creating toy versions of the Universal title and the SmackDown Live tag belts. Loot Crate has announced a new line of figures that are to be coming within the next Slam crates starting this coming month, which is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. There is going to be a 12-inch Hulk Hogan figure that is coming soon. A flashback Kane figure with 3 interchangeable heads. And the last, the Playmates, is bringing back the second series of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles WWE figures. Leonardo is Finn Balor. Donatello is the Ultimate Warrior. Michelangelo is Roddy Piper. And my favorite, Raphael as The Rock.
And what was the one before the Turtles one?
There's going to be a 12-inch Hulk Hogan figure. And a flashback Kane with 3 heads.
That's it. Have we got Iron Man Kane?
Oh, boy.
So that kid can go, it came with a mask!
Holy
shit! Holy shit!
I still want to go back to the WWE cartoon show that was too MA for television. The one that we've seen videos of where Stephanie brings out Scuba Kane and Safari Kane.
And Condiment King Kane. Yes, I saw Lego Batman.
Yes, you did. Good job. So more on top of this, we have news of Dwayne, of course, working on the Fighting With My Family movie. They were filming at Raw Monday night at Staples Center. Rock comes out and he cuts a promo. He says Raw's going to be great, and after we're going to shoot a scene for the movie. And then basically says John Cena's in the movie. Nah, no, wait a minute. We just want to make a good movie. And he says he's going to boo and cheer for everyone just like everybody is. And he's like, let's boo Roman. And he goes, isn't it fun booing Roman? Vince comes out and fires him. Rock comes out after the show. He says, hey, man, that Roman guy got his ass kicked. Crowd chants CM Punk.
Yeah.
Rock lets the chant go. And he's like, you know what? He's not in the movie, but I'm going to call him anyway. So he called Punk. It went straight to voicemail because Punk was walking his dog. Rock left an epic voicemail. He said he's calling the Staples Center. Fans are chanting your name. So they filmed boos and cheers for the crowd. Rock said, it's a John Cena crowd. We did a This Is Awesome chant. Apparently, Rock was called back by Punk, but of course he didn't hear it because of the chants. They brought out...
Well, after that CM Punk answer phone thing, apparently Vince basically got in his ear and went, enough of this fucking shit. Get back to what you're doing.
Vince sent a referee out to make a cut sign, like, you need to stop this. So, yeah, that's what happens. They filmed AJ's promo. Apparently, the voice is definitely there, but the looks not even close. So they basically choreographed the match without bumps, and then Tessa Blanchard came out to basically be the stunt double for Florence Pugh, which is playing Paige. And then they did the match with all the bumps. Still don't know why to this day. I look at the gear and it's completely different. Don't know why you didn't just put Thea Trinidad in a freaking jean shorts and a cutoff shirt, but I guess they just didn't. The referee, Ash, I don't know if you know about this. The referee was Drake.
Oh no!
So Drake is going to be in Dwayne's
I
movie.
gotta be in Hollywood.
Darren Young is out.
Give us a wave. Tyler, give us a wave. Hey.
Darren Young's gonna be out for 6 months. He had surgery on the 9th for an elbow injury from a main event match in January. He's not gonna be at Mania.
For that. Right.
Yeah, he's not gonna be at Mania now. Interestingly enough, Finn Balor has been advertised for a house show in Buffalo, New York on March 10th, Toronto on the 11th, and White Plains on the 26th. The interesting thing about this is it sounds like that pretty much locks him in for Mania. And given the fact that he showed up at UCF tonight, probably allows that to be a possibility.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
I hope they're not that dumb.
No,
Besides
but then he wins. And then it might actually mean something.
I doubt it. So we have some locations for pay-per-views coming up. Obviously, Payback is going to be held April 30th in San Jose, which is Bailey country. Backlash doesn't have a location quite yet. It'll probably be a SmackDown pay-per-view. It'll be May 21st. Extreme Rules will be a Raw show on June 4th. Money in the Bank is going to be in St. Louis at the Scott Trade Center on June 18th. SummerSlam, of course, will be in Brooklyn, Survivor Series in Houston, and Royal Rumble next year in Philly, and Mania next year in New Orleans. To the interesting response from the internet, the New Day have been announced as the official hosts of WrestleMania.
Still don't get it.
They just didn't have any matches for them. I mentioned about Payback. It's going to be at the SAP Center April 30th in San Jose. Tickets will go on sale tomorrow. So if you're listening to this live, they go on sale Friday morning. So check that out. Yeah, Pedro, Vince was very upset with Dwayne for doing that. I don't think it matters. That's Dwayne. Tamina Snuka will return to a live event over the weekend in Canada, teaming with Natalya to defeat Alexa Bliss and Carmella. She's been out since April of last year with an injury. So Cricket Wireless is doing a contest to send a fan and a guest to WrestleMania.
Again.
Yeah, one more time. So you can get, up until March 19th, you can get entered in the sweepstakes. Go to a Cricket Wireless store or go through cricketsweepstakes.com/WWE33. If you win, you get round-trip airfare to Orlando, lodging for two, a prepaid $500 gift card, a Samsung Galaxy S7 with a 1-year Cricket Wireless, tickets to Mania, Access, and the WrestleMania pre-party. And 3 first prize winners will get a brand new Samsung Galaxy S7 with 6 months of wireless service. 10 second prize winners will receive a replica Intercontinental title autographed by Dolph Ziggler. Cody Rhodes.
The question is this a competition that you could win, Owen?
Probably not.
No, let's be honest. I want to see it happen.
It'd be nice.
You know, we fly you from Orlando to Orlando. Oh, wait.
Yeah, don't have to fly anymore. Cody's going to be going back to New Japan. Apparently, he says New Japan is his home base now. And it's been mentioned that Zack Sabre Jr.
WCPW.
Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr., of course, is going to be heading to New Japan. Interesting information there we just talked about a little bit ago. Paige and Alberto Del Rio will be married in May. There is no indication if this is going to be filmed for Total Divas. My guess is probably not.
My feeling is no. But you already knew that.
Obviously, Nicole Bass passed away at 52 over the weekend, which we talked about Nicole Bass, and we also talked about Ivan Koloff, and we've talked about so many deaths recently. It's a shame.
Worth noting, I was proven right by Smackdown. Nothing about anybody dying. Not even Koloff video package.
I'm gonna guess that Johnny Canine or Bruiser Bedlam is not going to get any sort of response either, to be totally honest.
Well, yeah, because I think his participation in WWE stuff wasn't as significant as George the Animal Steel or Ivan Koloff.
No. Pedro says, I don't want to imagine a long line to get in. That's why Scott and I are going in the beginning of the day. Yes, we're not getting stuck in WrestleMania traffic this year. That's not happening.
I see. What I'm worried about is whether it will be as much of a shit show as it was last year.
I hope not. I really hope not, because I don't want to be a part of that crap.
Because if you are, it'll be like, well, now you knew how Total Biscuit felt.
So, CZW news. Best of the best.
Okay.
Best of the best has been announced. It's going to be April 1st as a part of WrestleCon in Orlando. They haven't announced the actual brackets yet, but best of the best will be Ricochet, Sami Callihan, AR Fox, Leo Rush, Shane Strickland, Dave Christ, Joey Janela, Jake Christ, David Starr, Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier, Anthony Henry, Jason Cade, Scorpio Sky, Michael Elgin, and Ray Phoenix.
Holy shit. Not to say that some of the previous best of the best have been shit, but that list of 16 is man. I guess in that sense, it's probably going to be 4 four-way eliminators then,
Yes.
rather than 4 three-way. Like, yes.
So, interesting thing on that one is going to be a non-tournament match with Pentagon against Matt Tremont. And Brian Cage will go after the CZW World Heavyweight Championship.
Which will probably be on Gacy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Probably.
Keith Lee is signed with WWN, of course. That means that he's putting together the Keith Lee Trial Series. 4 opponents, 4 different styles, 4 top contenders. February 24th in Joppa is going to be Evolve 78 against Zack Sabre Jr.
Before we get to that, do you want to mention the other 2 first? Or not?
I was bringing up the Keith Lee story first, and then we can go into Evolve.
Yeah, but obviously because 2 of them tie into this week. Okay, so do you want to mention the other 2? And then we'll go to 2 later. I'm guessing are the other Keith Lee ones part of the WrestleMania?
Yeah, we have Keith Lee matches on 78 and 79, and then in the Orlando shows on 80 and 81.
Okay. So yeah, okay, I might as well quickly bring that up because it does. Hang on, I need to scroll and scroll and scroll to get down to where they are. So yeah, Evolve 78 this Friday in Yoppa, Maryland at the MCW Arena. It's worth noting that every single match on this card is a first time ever, or at least first time in Evolve. So we got Darby Allin versus Austin Theory, Dickinson and Nyaka versus the Gatekeepers, Ethan Page with the Gatekeepers taking on Jason Kincaid, Matt Riddle versus Anthony Henry, Tracy Williams versus ACH, Drew Galloway versus Drew Cobb, Keith Lee's first match in the Keith Lee Trial. Is that what they're calling it?
That's correct. Trial Series, yes.
That sounds a bit too much like OJ. He better not be getting in a white cab and driving with blood over it. Keith Lee's first Styles clash is against Zack Sabre Jr., which I'm guessing is the British wrestling style. And then the main event, Timothy Thatcher defends the Evolve title against Fred Yehi. Then Saturday at La Boom in New York, Woodside Borough or area, Evolve 79. We got Jeff Cobb versus Yaka, a four-way freestyle with whoever loses between Thatcher and Yehi. Spoilers, it's Yehi. Taking on Chris Dickinson, Austin Theory, and Anthony Henry. We've got Jason Cade versus ACH. Then Keith Lee's Trial 2 is against Tracy Williams. I'm trying to work out what that is. Condiment trial? Because he's hot sauce Tracy Williams? I don't know. Ethan Page one-on-one with Darby Allin. And then Timothy Thatcher or Fred Yehi, but let's be honest, it's probably Thatcher. Versus Zack Sabre Jr. And also grudging match with Drew Galloway versus Matt Riddle. So those are Keith's first two. You want to mention the WrestleMania weekend ones then?
Yeah. So March 30th, Evolve 80 is going to be Ricochet against Keith Lee. And then the trial will finish with Donovan Dijak on March 31st.
Oh, there ain't going to be any Hoss fights then, really. Dijak's probably the closest.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, and that's sort of the other story, isn't it? That Dijak signed with Evolve.
Yep. Well, we talked about that last week, though.
Trying to remember. The other thing they announced is as part of the Super Show on the Saturday, they're obviously crowning a WWN champion.
That was my next
a
piece of
champion
news.
to represent all the brands, and I think it's supposed to be is it a four-way eliminator, or are they just saying multi-man eliminator?
They basically said it's going to be a multi-person elimination match.
Right.
Drew Galloway is the first one that's entered the match. That's all we know as of right now.
Which makes sense.
Big event. Always a big wrestling convention in New York, March 4th, not that far away. The show is going to be filled with a lot of big talent. If you want more information, it's bigeventnewyork.com, just ny.com. We've got Bret Hart, Sting, Lita, Christian, Kamala, Harley Race, Mike Tyson, Tito Ortiz, and Dennis Rodman. Those are the big names for the show.
Is Dennis Rodman big?
I mean, there's other names. The full list also includes Coco Beware, Sid Vicious, the Headbangers, the Boogeyman, Gangrel, the Godfather, Sean Waltman, Billy Gunn, Cody Rhodes, The Kingdom, Ron Bass, Demolition, Corporal Kirshner, Brooke Adams, Mean Gene Okerlund, Melina, Nikki Adams, Aria Cadenza, Christy Hemme, Diamond Dallas Page, the Young Bucks, the Great Khali, Steve Mongo McMichael, Mark Marrow, Itsuki Yamazaki, Velvet Sky, Marty Jannetty, Al Perez, Tatanka, Sexy Star, Taya Valkyrie, Brian Cage, Bull James, Melissa Santos, Hillbilly Jim, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Jimmy Hart, Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas, Shelly Martinez, Maria Kanellis, and Mike Bennett, Jerry Lynn, Thea Trinidad, Corey Graves, Ron Simmons, SoCal Val, Lisa Marie Veron, Victoria, of course, Cowboy Bob Orton, Hacksaw Butch Reed, Donovan Dijak, Shannon Moore, Maven, Frankie Kazarian, and Christopher Daniels, Mike Orlando, Alberto El Patron, and Gilbert.
Mm. Mm.
And then, Ashley, we had a PWG show over the weekend, too.
Oh, indeedy doody 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 do. Lot of sounds. Man, this one. So, only kings understand each other. With Ricochet as Bruno Mars on the poster.
Yep.
So we had Trevor Lee beat Cody with a Fisherman's Buster. Apparently, Trevor did the not very cool thing without sort of getting the say-so from Cody about saying fuck Dusty.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Which Cody said on his Twitter will be edited out of the stuff, and because he wasn't told, he felt it was like a personal thing rather than just a way to establish Trevor as the heel. Even though, because Cody's technically part of the bloody Bullet Club, it isn't really that much of a heel, so who knows. Trent beat Ray Phoenix with a reverse cradle pole driver. The Chosen Bros of Jeff Cobb and Matt Riddle beat Elgin and Cage with a tour of the islands on Cage from Cobb. Ricochet beat Leo Rush. Heard a lot of good things about that one. Also, a lot of good things about Marty Scurll versus Jay White. Then OI4K and Sami Callihan lost to the Super Click of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks because the Super Click did about 59 million super kicks on OI4K. Also worth noting for that one, I believe Cody was the ring announcer.
Interesting.
Just for Click / Bullet Club. And then Zack Sabre Jr. beat Chuck Taylor to retain the PWG World title by Chuck passing out to the triangle choke. And the fans booed Sabre because he wasn't Chuck Taylor. So, of course, they used this for their reasoning. When Marty Scurll came out and say that the fans don't appreciate him and Zack anymore and beat the shit out of Chuck. So then Trent makes the save and the best friends are reunited. So yeah, once again, because we've run out of original ideas, your PWG World Champion has gone from a face to a heel. Just like it did with Steen, like it did with Cole, just like it did with Elgin. As soon as you become the champ, you get booed.
Pretty
The
much.
only one that did it successfully was probably Roderick.
I'd say so.
Because Roddy was heel but won anyway, but people cheered because it was, Roddy. So on top of that, they've announced the next show. Nice Boys Don't Play Rock and Roll. March the 18th, so literally a month on. In his debut, Desmond Xavier takes on Shane Strickland. Sami Callihan one-on-one with Adam Cole. Keith Lee also makes his PWG debut to take on Brian Cage. The Chosen Bros face the Chris brothers of Jake and Dave Christ. Leo Rush one-on-one with Trevor Lee. The Londoners. I'm guessing that's what it says. LDRS. I don't know whether that stands for something else. Certainly looks like Londoners, even though I don't think either of them are entirely from London.
Leaders of the new school?
Anyway, Sabre. Say again?
Leaders of the new school.
Oh, okay, leaders, yeah. I see that now. I guess they're taking out the vowels.
Yeah, Sabre and Scroll.
They take on the best friends. And then probably the main event, triple threat tag match. As the Young Bucks defend the PWG World titles against Ricochet and Matt Sydal reuniting. And also Rey Fenix and Penta.
Oh, wow.
Tickets go on sale at 8 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, Thursday, February the 23rd. If you're not refreshing on the site, don't worry. The tickets will be gone in about 2 minutes. Let's say, if I'm kind, 5. And the best thing is there will be all those people that buy the front tickets for like $80 and then get people paying $800 for them because they're in demand. Which is a bit shitty, but when you take into account that PWG can't be asked to move from the building, good on people for trying to profit off it, to be quite honest.
Fair
Because that
point.
just means less money. That just means less money that they could have got from PWG, or PWG could have got for having a bigger venue. But then I guess it somewhat loses its charm. Grumpiness over. Probably.
It's very appropriate that we end the show tonight with PWG.
Well, we got the other results and fixture. I keep calling it fixtures every week. So with ICW, like I said last week, I didn't think much would happen. No major stuff happened. The only thing of note was there was the match between Galloway and Jack Jester, I think, went to a no contest because that was just a murder. I mean, it wasn't murder, but so Queens of Combat had their tournament for the tag titles that they've newly created this past Saturday. It was a double header in the afternoon and the evening. In the first round, we had Sexy Young Caramels beat the Fella Twins. Taylor Hendricks and Laurel Van Ness beat Kira Hogan and AJ Pereira. Leva Bates and Jay beat Team Sea Stars, and Rachel Ellering and Nevaeh beat Mr. Lexia and Darcy Dixon. And in the evening show, in the semis, we had Leva Bates and Jay beat the Caramels, and Taylor Hendricks and Laurel Van Ness beat Nevaeh and Rachel Ellering. And then the finals, your new, I guess, first Queens of Combat Tag Champs are Taylor Hendricks and Laurel Van Ness. Yeah, Chelsea's got a title. What the shit, son. And also in that event, Sue Young retained the Queens of Combat World title, beating Kennedy Brink. There are other matches on the card, but just for the interest of time, I won't mention them. But I think you can find it on Diva Dirt. Don't try going to the Queens of Combat website. They can't be asked to update it. Or the Facebook page, or anything. PWX's Rise of a Champion from Sunday. Again, won't go through all the matches. I'll just mention that we have a new ITV champion, the innovative TV title. Elijah Evans IV beat James Drake to become the new champ. The Ugly Ducklings retained their tag belts over the Bruiserweights. Anthony Henry beat Jake Manning to become the new PWX World Champion. So that X16 cash-in from late last year, I think, proved to be successful. And then Sami Callihan beat Jeff Hardy in the Falls Count Anywhere match. Probably would have been crazy considering both those two guys. House of Glory's show on Saturday. With Glory comes Pride. We had EYFBO retain the World Tag Belts against the Super Savages. Then the management representative offered a new contract to Anthony Gangon to join the roster, but was attacked by 3 mystery men in masks. And then Gangon joined the men in the ring with the cutthroat disciple Tom Juba and unveiled that the masked men were as Herbal Affairs and renamed them. Toasty Tom is Thomas Odin Rembrandt is Ezekiel Lewis, and Jimmy Blaze is Gabriel Grogan. And that he no longer wants House of Glory Wrestling to burn and die, but rather burn and be rebuilt in his own image. So the stable is the House of Gangon. You see, HOG. Bones beat Smiley in what was seen by some as an upset. Sonny Strong and Big Daddy Cruz beat Violet and Sasha Jenkins. Violet leaving her partner mid-match. The Glory Foundation beat former House of Glory tag champs Private Party. Then, after Brian XL refused to come out of retirement to team with TJ and Brian Burgundy due to his faith, the Trust showed a video of James attacking Brian XL's father, whom is a pastor at his church. So Brian was taken to the back by security before getting his hands on Evander James from the Trust. And the former security guard Alexander the Tank Balcom stepped in Brian's place and earned the team the victory with some distraction from Brian. Ken Broadway retained the Crown Jewel title in the Fatal 4-Way match over Rude Boy Riley, Lucky Leroy Green, and Matt Travis. Travis being the guy who he pinned. The House of Glory World title was retained by Anthony Gangon over Matt Sydal. And then the main event saw Alberto beat Loki. Their next show will be April 22nd, featuring some bloke called Kevin Nash and some bloke called Scott Hall. I guess that's, a bit sweet. AIW's Art of War from Friday, where Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta beat Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett, so the best friends beat the besties. Controversial. Zema Ryan beat Connor Braxton. Matt Riddle beat Jason. Trevor Lee beat Matt Sydal in a singles match, but it was to defend the tag titles. It's a bit weird. Whatever. Loki beat El Hero Fantasma. Elgin and Cage beat Xavier and Vince. Abyss beat Eddie Kingston. And then ACHR Fox and Phoenix beat the Killer Cult of Callahan and OI4K, with Phoenix pinning Sammy Callahan. So I guess he's in with a shout. AIW, Sean Schultz beat Facade, Flip Kendrick, and Lucky 13. PB Smooth beat Kaplan. Then okay, I'm trying to look. So it was supposed to be a match between Britt Baker and Swoggle, but Britt got attacked by Brian Carson and Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham. So then Dick Justice and Space Monkey made the save, so it became a 6-person intergender match / interspecies match, of course, with Britt making Rockingham tap for the win. She's going to be part of Girls Night Out 19, which I think is in a few weeks, as part of the female fight season, which is March, April time. She's taking on Gail Kim. That's going to be an interesting match for her, certainly. Joey Janela got the win eventually. Well, actually, the match was off because Matt Cross got a broken leg. So Joey Janela was up against Candice LeRae. First time she was at AIW since Johnny left in September. Joey proclaimed himself a giant killer and challenged Scott Norton to a match at Gauntlet for the Gold. And of course, Candice LeRae is going to challenge for the Shimmer World title as part of the WrestleMania weekend show. Team Crazy Pain retained the tag belt against 2 Infinity, Beyond, and the Jollyville Fuggets. Then BJ Whitmer with the Duke took on Mike Tola. Dominic Guarini caused a distraction to let Tola get the win. And then afterwards, Whitmer challenged him with the deal with if Guarini loses, he has to become BJ's young boy. But if Whitmer loses, he leaves AIW forever. Then we had Lewis Linden versus Paul Burchill, which Linden won with a kick to the crotch behind the referee's back. Then Raymond Rowe, I think, beat Laredo Kid. No actual, it doesn't list who actually won the match for that one. Alex Daniels retained the Intense title against Ethan Page. Apparently, there was some little kid in the front row that Alex Daniels said that the kid didn't like him during intermission at the merch table, so Rage Against the Machine and whatever. And then Josh Prohibition versus Tracy Williams got ruined by Tim Donst because he got up and caused basically a DQ. So it's led to a three-way dance for the next show. With the deal being that if Tim Donst loses, he cannot challenge for the Absolute title for another 6 months. And then this weekend, PCW's got its Chris Travis Memorial Tournament. Even though, by the looks of it, none of the proceeds are actually going to Chris Travis's family. Not entirely happy about. If you want to find more details about it, I would say go to PCW's Facebook page, but here's the thing. It's already been made clear, apparently, that Pete Dunne will not be part of the show, but still plans to donate the money that he would be making from the show to Cavendish Cancer Care, which was the one that treated Chris, during his cancer, diagnosis and everything, and treatment. Basically, there was a lot of people angry with the booker saying how that they raised money for him last year and that they're entitled to do their own thing now because, he was a friend. The interesting response, apparently, the day after all the uproar about it was that they don't make any money. They're an indie, so they don't need to promise anything to charity as they won't make anything. And also anybody criticizing them will be blocked on social channels. So much so that from what I've heard and from comments on Reddit, so, treat it with a pinch of salt possibly, the reason why Will Ospreay doesn't work there is because he basically wanted £80 instead of £40. He wanted double pay. Because this was just at the time that his rise to fame, through New Japan was getting motion. And basically, they refused to pay him any more money. The thing is, though, they pay a shit ton of money for all the big stars and the old timers. One thing that I saw, allegedly, there was a 13 or 14-year-old kid who was making illegal copies of PCWs like DVDs and Blu-rays. So the booker got the masterpiece Chris Masters to go round this kid's house and scare the shit out of him or her to make sure they never produce the shit again. So there's a bit of overkill, Owen.
Just a tad.
So yeah, in terms of who's competing in the tournament, allegedly Pete Dunne's taking on Pentagon Dark, even though we know that isn't happening. So who knows? But we've also got David Starr versus Kenny Williams, Tyson T-Bone versus Charlie Sterling, Lionheart taking on Bubblegum, Ryan Smile versus Chris Ridgway, Joey Hayes versus Dean Allmark, Philip Michael, in brackets from me, never trust somebody with two first names, even as a surname. Philip Michael versus Colt Cabana, and Danny Hope faces MVP. Yes, that MVP. Progress Wrestling, as Old Man Yells at Cloud at the Electric Ballroom in Camden. This one sold out, so no chance of getting into this one. We got James Drake versus Damon Moser. The debuting Jordan Devlin from the UK tournament takes on Travis Banks. For the first time since Chapter 4 back in November of 2012, so over 4 years, El Ligero takes on Nathan Cruz. Mark Andrews, one-on-one with Shane Strickland. Zach Gibson versus Jack Sexsmith. In the women's title tournament first round, Session Moth Martina, who's garnered a lot of acclaim from her ICW days and her Irish wrestling, faces Dahlia Black. But the main event is an interesting one. So it's British Strong Style of Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate taking on Jimmy Havoc, Mark Haskins, and Flash Morgan Webster. So the deal is, if Havoc, Haskins, or Webster score a pin or submission on any member of British Strong Style, they'll earn a title opportunity. I'm guessing it'll be possibly tag belts if they pin a tag champ. I don't know. But if Webster, Havoc, or Haskins get pinned or submit, they'll be barred from any further title matches for 6 months. CWF Mid-Atlantic has its end of an era show featuring a 6-pack challenge for the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title. Trevor Lee taking on 5 opponents to be determined on the night, being Smith Garrett versus Osiris in a grudge match, Kane Justice versus Dominic Guarini for the Rising Generation League title, Eric Andrews versus a challenger drawn at random by the Family titles, versus PB Smooth, and Alex Daniels versus Chip Day. All the 5 winners of those matches will then go into the 6-pack challenge with Trevor Lee. Also on the card, though, a Canodal Brothers Cup qualifying match with Eric Royal and Roy Wilkins taking on Nick Richards and Chet Sterling. C4 Wrestling in Canada has its Underground Volume 3 show. Highlights on the card here, I would say, because we haven't got, again, time to go through it all. There's a three-way with Space Monkey, Tony Deppen, and Jonathan Rukin. In his first time ever face-off, Mike Bailey takes on Sonny Kiss. And the semi-main, the C4 champion and tag champs of Matthew St. Jack, Thomas Dubois, and Stu Grayson take on Brute Vance like Jay Freddy and Mikey Skroyos. And the main event as the Underground champion, Evil Uno, defend against Kobe Durst. And then finally, Beyond Wrestling, this Sunday in Providence, Rhode Island, at the Aurora Club. It's under construction, an afternoon into the evening show. Scheduled to compete, but not set in a match, are the Hit Squad and Team PAWG. of Lufisto and Jordan Grace. Matches that are confirmed so far, that is 10. I don't know how many others that there are going to be added. EYFBO versus Milk Chocolate. The Gentleman's Club takes on Massage MV. Tracy Williams one-on-one with Jay Freddy. Chris Dickinson versus Jonathan Gresham. Yaka versus Keith Lee. Vader Scott teams with Ryan Gallion to take on Joey Janela and Penelope Ford, so some intergender action there. The American Destroyers take on Matt Riddle and Chuck O'Neill. And then 3 singles matches, Rex Lawless versus Sami Callihan, Michael Elgin versus JT Dunn, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus John Silver. So that's, lot, I think, from this week. Unless
Right.
Monsieur Dave is actually being able to write quick to the Monsieur Dave. There's probably nothing's happened anyway.
Yeah, I think that's our show.
Yeah, Dave stuff is not going to be in time, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll have to stick that somewhere in next week's stuff.
Next week.
Next week is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
One, because as we've already established, I'm going to be doing quite a bit of it, if not all. But on top of that, I think there's at least a dozen shows that are happening that weekend or over the course of the next 7 days, because I think there's like 2 weeks yesterday,
Right.
2 weeks on Wednesdays, along with, if I can quickly remember off the top of my head by just looking at the dates of the shows, I might be able to gauge what some of them are. Northeast Wrestling, I think that's the one with Angle and Cody.
I believe so.
The last indie match, probably. AAW, Shikara's doubleheader, Rev Pro, Smash Wrestling, Lucha Toronto, Alpha One, On Point Wrestling, Ring of Honor's Manhattan stuff. On top of some New Japan stuff as well. I believe another Beyond Wrestling show is happening. Yeah. And of course, the UFC pay-per-view. The shit is going down.
Yeah, we'll discuss that next week. So real quick before we end, I definitely want to throw big shout outs to Dr. Aiden Quinn, Pedro, Jeremy, and Logan. You can follow them on Twitter, link in the description bar, at Logan Burton 10, at Evil Takes Root for Pedro, and Dr. Aiden Quinn. You can follow him on here on YouTube as well. Check out Acer at Acer1337. Yes, in a row for all the podcasts you should be listening to, wrestling and or otherwise. Plus, also his YouTube channel is Acer5000. Very loyal to the network, and everybody that I just mentioned, super awesome people that I'm very happy that listen to us every single week with all you fine people out there. Shout out to Mr. Entertainment, following Aaron on Twitter at Mr. ENT92. He doesn't really conversate as much, but he will chat with you if you message him. Follow Cleveland at Contra Cleve, as well as members of the elite of the podcast network. Wit at Jedi Wit 82, Miller at Miller McGinn, MCGHIN, and of course, last but certainly not least, my soon-to-be roommate as of a couple days from this moment, Great Travelin' Scott. So yeah, follow Scott on Twitter at GR8 Trav TRAVLN Scott. So
from this moment,
it'll be the moment.
Starting soon.
Thank you, Pedro. Podcast Network rocks. Thank you. Much appreciated. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
Find me on Twitter. Ash is my name, UK. Gaming with Ash, I guess, will become Oscars with Ash. As I react to me failing, probably in the picks. I'll have to get the figures off Owen as to where we are in terms of who's ahead overall and everything over the weekend. So then I can inform you guys on that video if I can.
I can inform everyone right now. The current contest as of this moment before the Spirit Awards and the Oscars AJ is leading with 36, and I have 33, and Ashley, you have 31.
Yeah, I'm last again. Woo!
But it's close, and anybody can win. So, real quick programming note for everyone. Tomorrow, Sip and Snack returns. Friday, AJ's movie reviews is the final AJ's movie reviews as we know it as of this moment, with me in the background, obviously, because AJ's going to be filming with his new camera, and he's going to be filming his reviews and verses. We'll discuss that on Friday's show. It's Get Out, Collide, and Rock Dog. And Saturday will be the Film Independent Spirit Awards prediction video that's going to be coming out. Sunday is going to be Versus. Very fitting given the fact it's Oscar Sunday. And, of course, Sunday is the Academy Awards. So looking forward to that. And then Monday morning, super early in the morning, probably way too early for my own good, I'm going to be getting in a vehicle with my mother and driving 13 and a half hours to the greatest city in the world, Orlando, Florida. And on Tuesday, I will officially move into my new apartment. So, yes, super excited about that. Thank you, Scott. If it wasn't for Scott, obviously, there's a lot of things that definitely wouldn't be the way they are. So, once again...
you're wrong on that greatest city thing. Because I think there's only one greatest city, and that's the one that got King of Trios. The entire state of America. Even though I know it isn't a state, because the amount of people that are living like, oh my God, why isn't King of Trios in America? It's like, get your panties in a bunch.
Maybe someday King.
You've got Bowler. You've got PWX's tournament. You've still probably got the Tag World Grand Prix from Shikara anyway. You still got Best of the Best. You've still probably got another cruiserweight tournament. You've got the women's tournament. You've got plenty of tournaments in America. There aren't that many over here. So getting an international tournament to actually be international is pretty incredible. By the way, the tickets finally came in.
There you go.
It took a couple of days, since I bought it on Monday, but I have them. I obviously am not going to print them off until I'm close to the time, because I think when the tickets went on sale, it was 200 days away. So I think we're roughly at 190 days and counting. Screw that WrestleMania ticker. I'm much higher.
So, real quick, if you are going to be in attendance for the Impact Wrestling tapings at Soundstage 21 at Universal Orlando Resort, find me, because I'm definitely going to be there. So, I should be there for every day of the tapings. Actually, I can guarantee you that right now. I'll be there for every day of the tapings. So,
the great thing is, next Wednesday we can decide what shirts Owen's going to wear. So then it's easier to find him.
Oh God, maybe we'll see what happens with that. So
I'm gonna be trying to think of a famous fashion person. It's no, don't wear that. No,
it doesn't help. I don't have any TNA merch right now, but hopefully I'll get some soon. So once again, like I said before, this is the end of an era, if you could say so. The final podcast taking place from my television room here in West Virginia. And then, of course, Monday night when we do Raw at 11:15, 11:20 p.m., 11:30 p.m., I will be in a hotel. And then when we do the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, I will probably still be in that hotel. But I can assure you that a week from Monday, I believe it's the 6th of March, I will be in the brand new location for the Popcast Network, me and Scott's apartment. So, yeah. That is a proof. And then Tuesday morning I get up and who knows, maybe fortune will smile upon me and a job will come my way. So as always, I want to thank everyone for joining us live or in archive. And in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you've chosen a Popcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. One last time before the Oscars, go watch La La Land if you haven't yet. And if you have, go watch it again. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Or we could just have Owen have a T-shirt saying, "Where's my fucking gold, Jeff?" and on the back saying, #Dixie.
Oh God. Good night, everybody.